Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to Monday Night America here on the network. It is a glorious afternoon. I was going to say morning. I apologize. I may still have a little bit of jet lag. We'll see. But all kidding aside, it is September 13th, 2021. What a wonderful Monday it is. I'm joined today. I don't even refer to them as guests and co-hosts anymore because they are part of the conversation this evening. And joining me this evening is the man, the myth, the one who is, of course, he is Michael Day. Good evening, Michael. How are you?
I'm doing good tonight. I want to say one thing before we go on any further, because this is an event day that is very important. This is the 22nd anniversary of the moon blasting out of Earth's orbit, according to Space 1999.
Wow.
So I just wanted to bring that up to all the sci-fi fans and sci-fi TV people out there. That I just had to throw that out there.
Beautiful, Michael. I would have thought about this tomorrow. We had our missed opportunity. So I'm glad, Michael, you are the man. I'm telling you, you are right. We already have a few comments in the chat room. Love the shirt, Mark. Oh, I guess we're going to get into that. That's a perfect segue. Of course, our guest, our fellow communicator? No, that might be political. I don't want to say that. But our fellow individual that's going to be on with us tonight, you all know him, ladies and gentlemen. His name is Mark Hildebrand. Good evening, Mark. How are you?
Good evening. I'm doing fine. How are you?
I'm doing well, Mark, and I'm terribly excited. I'm glad you joined us. I was readily mistaken, and I did get the proverbial slap before we went on air. I thought you had been on with us before, but no, you've not, and I'm glad you are joining us this evening.
Me too. This looks like fun.
Oh, it can, and it will be. So, let me see. I do, ladies and gentlemen, yes, I did travel a great deal. And I am a tad tired. I did wake up about an hour and a half ago. That's why it seems like morning for me. But it was all good. I understand that when Starship Farragut does some of its productions, I'm hoping to head out to the East Coast if they ever have their shooting days announced. But we'll see. We'll see what happens. Anyway, Mark, I'm not sure if you know, but Michael and I have met twice now in person.
Okay.
And I think it's really cool. I was able to meet Chris Smith, who I interviewed a few weeks ago. He was up in Seattle. It was great meeting him in person, who I'd known for about 12 years. And I'm trying to do this now more often. So hopefully we get along, Mark. So it won't be one of those bad things where it's like, oh, he's actually cool.
We'll see.
Exactly. We'll see. But I do want to welcome everyone. Yes, they will keep you here for hours. That must be Michael Bednar.
Yeah. Hi, Mike.
Now, the absolutely amusing thing is the first episode ran 5 hours and 43 minutes, and the second episode ran 5 hours and 30-some minutes.
All with Michael Bednar?
All with Michael Bednar. Actually, we were with Michael, and I'm not being sarcastic. Michael had a lot to share. He was elucidating. It was able to share a lot what you two gentlemen know, but what many other people did not know. And I have a sneaky suspicion there is still more to tell.
Okay.
So we're going to get to that. But anyway, that is Michael. And Michael is more than welcome to join us at any time.
He
knows this, Michael. You know this. So I believe Michael Day will do me the solid. Okay, he's not laughing at that one. There's a 30-second delay. So there is. Okay, well, we'll see. If he wants to join us, he is obviously more than welcome. Any prior guest, you guys know, you're more than welcome. That's why it's not necessarily me and the guest or Michael and I and the guest. It's a continuing conversation. You see, now there's the 30-second comment. Okay. So hopefully he will join us. So we're going to try to get to all the comments right now. But Michael, we'd like you to introduce yourself to our audience since this is your first time. They know some of your work. Mark! They know some of your work. Mark, I do apologize, Mark. And,
you are sleepy, Roger.
I'm just tired. I have the coffee, and it's 90 degrees in here, so go figure. And I have the backup There's no promo, but have the cherry Coke if it's going to do anything. But Mark, you do a lot of good stuff away from internet. You have several. Well, anyway, Mark, why don't you share with us what it is, who you are, and what you do?
Okay, well, I'm a Marylander, and about, gosh, I'm trying to think when it was, maybe 2005. I saw a press release that mentioned that there was a group that was going to do a fan film based on Starship Farragut, and I lost it. I thought, this is fantastic. I had heard of the Starship Exeter people in Texas, I believe, and thank you, Michael, and the folks in New York who had built the sets, and I thought, wow, it's actually happening near me, and I really want to get involved with these people. So I reached out right away, and I said, I know nothing about making movies or films or TV episodes or anything like that, but I'm a huge Star Trek fan, huge original series fan, and most of all, I love the music of the original series. And I said, do you guys have a theme song yet? I would love to write you guys a theme song. And so I met with Paul Siebert, first off. We had coffee somewhere, and he said that there was a guy, John Seguin, I believe, also maybe from Texas, who was toying around with some themes. And I said, well, look, I'd like to try something. I'm not a composer either. I had no idea what I was thinking. So I tried writing something, and I found that I'm confirmed I'm not a composer. And what I wrote was absolute crap. But I got sucked in because John Broughton found out I had acted a little bit in community theater, and I became Commander Krug in the first episode, The Captaincy. And I got to throttle fellow Klingons and beat up John Broughton's father, and all sorts of fun, but very peripherally involved. I wasn't at the other shoots that they did outdoors and or the other locations. So it was just a day and a half worth of involvement. And I said, I really, really like this, and said, I would love to get involved in your next production. So then it turned out, John said, well, we need a writer. I have a story idea, but do you want to take a stab at the script? And I, sure, and had a blast writing the script. And then they didn't have a director, and so I said, okay, well, I'd be happy to direct. I've never directed TV before, but what the hell? And then we needed a guest star. So I searched high and low to find someone to try to play George Washington. I even met with the folks at Mount Vernon to see if their George Washington reenactor that they use for history might be available and or interested, and couldn't find anybody. So I ended up being in it as well as writing it and directing our second production, For Want of a Nail, which I had no idea how that came together. It was a miracle. It was just, it was crazy. We a day of filming in sub-zero temperature, how it all pulled together, but it was a labor of love, and people from all over the country and all over the area got involved in the project, and it was just great. And I said, if I get hit by a bus tomorrow, that's fine. I've accomplished what I need to accomplish in my life. But then after that, I was involved in a few more productions, and got killed in my last production as just an actor. And Farragut has made one more production of the classic series. Oh, Michael, here you are. You're here to set me straight. But I really haven't been involved since then. And I don't know if you're aware, but the classic series of Farragut is no longer in production. But there are some interesting things happening with John and Michael, and futuristic from the 1960s Trek standpoint. Some interesting stuff going on. So other than that, I guess the other main thing I can say is that it's because of Starship Farragut that when my day job kind of came to a sudden close, I had the idea of saying, maybe I'd kind of like to be a filmmaker and do this kind of stuff as a job. And sure enough, I ended up forming my own nonprofit, and I've made a couple of documentary films and a couple of other productions, and now I'm running a TV studio in Annapolis. So go figure.
Mark, before we bring Michael on, I thought that was such a great analogy of being hit by a bus or something. You said something, and that's the exact moment that Michael showed up in the green room. I was like, oh, I got to bring him on, but no, we're going to give him just a quick moment. Before we bring on Michael, though, would you tell us about the nonprofit that you have going?
So in August of 2009, created a nonprofit called Make Your Mark Media. I did not come up with the name. My board of directors did. So, but they
it still works
using my name in it. But the idea was to do projects that would be educational, cultural, historical, environmental. Really, just trying to film and television is a great way to teach. It's a great way to pass on ideas. If you can entertain somebody and they learn something at the same time, mission accomplished. So the organization kind of took a turn onto an off-ramp into historical documentaries, and those are the two major feature productions that I've done, have been aired on public television. One called Anthem, which is the story of the music behind the Star Spangled Banner, where the song came from, how it became our national anthem, and that was timed perfectly for the bicentennial of the War of 1812. And somehow we got it on PBS stations all across the country and the Virgin Islands, and it's been viewed millions of times. It's crazy. And then our second documentary was the story of Brookville, which became the capital of the United States for one day, when James Madison was on the run from the British, when the British invaded Washington and burned the Capitol and the White House. He spent 2 days on the road and ended up in a small town and reformed the government there, and then went from there back to Washington after the British had left. And that, again, is an interesting story, an important lesson in our history that not a lot of people know about, and of much more interest to a Maryland audience than a national audience. So that only made it onto Maryland public television.
Mark, that's a shame, because that is who and what we are. That is our history. It is what we endured, or not said, I didn't mean to say endured, but it is how it's like the song from Enterprise, how we got from there to here. And it's a shame that people are not very much into that. And Mark, I'm going to have to contact you throughout the year upcoming, because I'm part of the committee for the next celebration coming up. I believe it's it's the 250 year anniversary. And when I say I'm committee, I'm one of like 8,000 people that are part of this. So I'm no one, but I have volunteered in it. And over the next few years, I'm going to be doing several specials on this network moving forward. And I graciously asked if we could have some conversations moving forward, because it would be of interest. Anthem, number one, and just having someone who knows a little bit more of history than I do would be great.
Yeah, that sounds great. The 250th is going to be
2026.
2026, so that's just 5 years from now. It's crazy.
And folks, it is a real campaign. It's called 250, and I'll see if I can post it up a little bit later. But your link to your nonprofit is below. It is mym-media.org, and I know we'll be referring to it in a little bit. But in my rightful spot, there he is. You know him. And notice, folks, he made the comment that we keep you here for a long time. How readily he joined us. Michael Bednar. How are you, Michael?
Well, you had me for a little bit tonight, because it is a work night, so I'm past my bedtime right now as it is.
And I thank you for that. I get it.
It's Mark. I'm here for Mark.
Yes, and I thank you for that. Readily.
Well, great to see you, Michael. You've been through quite an ordeal.
I have, and I'm getting back into the groove of things and getting some things done. So I may have something ready for you by Christmas time.
I was going to ask you about that.
Yeah. Well,
I
I was, when I joined the wood, I always put biscuits in them to keep the joint strong. And when I was doing some work last weekend, I actually went straight through because I had been working on this Han Solo and carbonite right here. And yeah, and here we go. Ready? There he is. So I forgot to set the depth back to the chair, and I went straight through. So I just picked up some more wood, cut it yesterday, and did my joints already today. So yeah, I'm back to work on it.
Great to hear. Hey, the Klingon bird of prey looks fantastic.
I like that, huh? That's sitting right here. It gets delivered Sunday.
Wow. And are you guys using that as a screen model?
It is going to be the filming miniature.
Fantastic. So you got to have a little Admiral Kirk and Mr. Spock outside so you can play with it in the bathtub.
Mhm.
This one gets wet. It's got 30 LEDs in it, Mark.
Wow.
Yeah, it's loaded. It is loaded, and that's 1/350th scale. And I'm looking at doing the Starfleet vessel. I don't know if John's leaked it out yet of what vessel he's doing, but
Yeah. I have drawings.
He has not.
1/260th scale.
Okay.
It'll be 36 inches long.
Wow.
Oh, I'm not going to work out the math. But that is a hint. You will be able to figure it out. You should be able to look that up, folks.
Well, let's put it into perspective. So the movie Enterprise, if you did it in the same scale, would be 4 feet long. This is only 3 feet long.
Well, it's not the Excelsior.
That's right.
That is cool. So, folks, there's a tidbit right there. I do want to give a quick shout out. We already have a few comments in the chat room. We have quite a few people watching us, so I kindly ask if you would let us know who you are and where you hail from. It's really cool to know. But I want to give a shout out to Steve Semmel, Tony Konopka, and
Hi,
Jacob
Steve.
Hayes, who's already given us some love, some likes on our page on Facebook. Thank you. And it's real good. So, Michael, Day.
Oh, me. Okay.
Yeah, you knew it was you. Go ahead, Mike. Did I look in the right direction? Yeah, you did. Okay. Michael, so what's going on? How did we get here, Michael?
How did we get here?
All four of us. How did we get here today?
Well, I got here because I was foolish enough to send a text message to somebody and say that I saw their fan film, I enjoyed it, and I lived in Maryland. And it was him. And I've said this before, and his comment back to me was, well, thank you very much. Would you like to help?
That's right.
So that's what got me here. And then my first film shoot was at Mark's house.
Oh, it was? Really?
Yes. Do you remember that?
Yeah.
I do.
Weren't you? I was just going through the pictures.
Rock in a Hard Place.
Yeah, I was going through Rock in a Hard Place pictures, and you were there for the shuttlecraft shots.
And I was there for the shuttlecraft, and I was there for the outdoor filming in the park by your house.
Right. So the outdoor filming happened first?
First, yes.
And then we did the show. Okay.
Yes.
Okay. And that was at the warehouse in.
And Michael, you were also there for the construction of the shuttlecraft.
Yeah.
That's what got you in.
That was my first, Mm-hmm. And that person hopefully is going to be on Roger's show in the next week or two, which he doesn't even know yet.
Oh, okay.
I just woke up. Be nice. Be kind. Rewind. You know what we used to do the videos? I'm just the eternal video. Be kind and rewind, please.
But that's how I got involved with Farragut. And I mean, all the way through several films, and lots of open houses, and I helped run Farragut Fest, which I am proud of.
Yep.
Should be.
And
Should be. Yep.
and then I took a break along with other Michael, and we've just been doing other things. But I've gotten involved with other fan films and
Goofing off.
goofing off. Goofing off is good. Goofing off is very good. So I recommend goofing off if you can do it. So
I'm also already agree. So now we know how everyone was involved, at least everyone here. I saw an advert somewhere. I told Michael Day and John Broughton years ago that I don't know exactly what it was, but one of their first advert campaigns for Farragut was when there was a stimulus plan going on. And there was this really cute say, "Hey, stimulus money's coming over. Why don't you guys, stimulate the program?" Mark, yes, put your hand up. Yeah,
I was the finance director for a while, and at that time, and I'm guilty. I like a good turn of phrase, but I figured, hey, let's get some money.
It worked. That was a creative line. I know that's one of the first things that stand out in my mind is that, and it's just really cool.
Forgot about that.
Oh no, I did not. So I think that's how
they remember everything.
Yeah. I want to give another shout out. We have Alan Tomlinson, who also gave us a like. Thank you. We appreciate it, folks. So if you have more likes, folks, I apologize. I haven't checked my email in a moment, and I have a few emails that light up when it's like, okay, I should look at that one, and I have one. And gentlemen, you're going to help me phrase the response to this one guest. This is the first time that I'm going to do this on air, and we have to come up with the proper response. The individual has already committed, and since I'm asking you to help me to do this, I'm going to ask you to join me when we interview the individual as well. So, you'll know who he is. He didn't wear this jacket, but he was on that series. So, he was, and it's a he. So, if you think of all the main characters, you know exactly who I'm talking about. He didn't wear the Enterprise uniform, but he was in Enterprise, and he was in all 4 years. So, I forget her name, the Vulcan, to Paul. She didn't wear the uniform. Yes, sir?
Well, I know the answer.
Who is it?
Isn't it Dr. Phlox?
Yeah, it's Dr. Phlox.
John Billingsley, great.
Yep.
I'm not going to share what he wrote to me, but John is an absolutely beautiful soul. I implied to him, I said, "Sir, you may remember you've been on 3 times." I always have to say the number. You've been on 3 times in the past. We'd love to have you join us if your schedule permits. Of course, you can engage the English guy. His name is, oh my God, he's from England. He calls him a wanker. They're so funny. They get along. And I said, and I'm so looking forward to you being able to call me his famous phrase, "Everyone who knows NDB Media." I look like a squirrel.
You have to look at it. Yeah.
I can't find it.
Well, of course.
So I have to jump in and say that I actually was about this close to John Billingsley in Bonn, Germany, at FedCon 2009.
Wow.
He was eating breakfast at the table next to me, and we were there promoting Starship Farragut. So he ate like a true gentleman. That's what I can say.
Well, I'm not kidding. The 3 of you, since we all have our connection to Farragut, and since Mark, this is your first time and you've been in the field, the invite is for the 3 of you to join me when we, provided it's at a decent hour. But knowing it's him, I think you guys will make a little bit of a sacrifice. For those of you that know when he was on radio, oh my God. It's not an interview. It's the John Billingsley Show.
Mm-hmm.
So it's all good. So anyway, Michael Day, please.
No problem.
I found it, but then I lost it again, so I've got to find it. And then we will respond.
Okay. Mark.
Yes.
What did you enjoy the most when you were in Farragut? Was it writing, acting, favorite episode, anything in particular, or was it kind of everything all mixed in?
I'll tell you what I didn't enjoy, and that was spray painting an agonizer I couldn't. I was trying to help John do some prop building, and the Agonizer and the Disruptor that I made were probably used on screen, but way in the background because I'm not a very good prop builder. You know, I was able to write 2 scripts for Farragut. One was a feature and one was a short episode. I helped a little with an introduction to our second version of Just Passing Through because I wanted a really nice love scene between Michael and his wife. So writing was a lot of fun. The acting, yeah, of course I loved that. But being able to have total control over dozens of people and direct is truly the best experience. You wield so much power, and what you also have to understand is I've done a lot of editing for Farragut, so having to live with the mistakes that I've made as a writer, director, and actor in the editing room and try and fix it, get it to work. Hearing myself say on camera, "That was a great take. Okay, that's done. Let's go on. Let's do something else." And thinking, how did I miss the fact that his eyes were sideways or whatever? But then the people that have worked with me also know that one of my famous phrases as a director is, "That was beautiful. Let's do it again." Just for safety, just in case I missed something. But
I did that a lot.
Yeah.
Well, George Lucas, his line was, "I liked it, but faster and more intense."
Ah,
Yes.
One more for safety.
Yeah, and more for safety.
And
yes.
more for safety. Yeah. Did you have any pictures or anything you wanted to share with us, Mark? Or
well, I wish I was going through some of the old footage, and I found a lovely bit. I'm going to have to convert it to an MP4 and maybe do some editing to it and share it with some of the old team. But there was some great horsing around on the shuttlecraft set for Rockin' a Hard Place. But I do have some pictures. Did you already show all the pictures, Michael? If you were on for 10 hours on this thing, you probably
photographed. Okay, yeah. All right. Hold on a minute.
Wow, he just went straight for the jugular.
Okay, yeah, he did. And I'm feeling it. Okay, but it was 11 hours. It was 11 hours. If you're going to slam us, it's 11. Get it right. And we have nefarious ferrets in the chat room. Good evening. It's 11.
To be honest, Mark, I showed one picture of you as the captain from the Mirror Universe when we were all in the briefing room.
Okay.
And that's when they said, "Oh, Mark's going to be here next Monday." So I was like, "Oh, cool."
That was so cool filming in the briefing room.
So, well, Mark, let me ask you.
Yeah.
How'd you like playing on the sets? Very first time.
Oh, I mean, God. Well, the first time on the sets was Ticonderoga.
Yeah, but that wasn't the full thing. That was only the bridge, and you had to go up the stairs to the transporter room. And,
right, yeah. Right. But playing on that and walking in and it being a 360 bridge was just incredible.
Yeah, that was cool.
But our sets, to have the to have the corridors, to have when we filmed Night Shift, you guys, we didn't use the sick bay. I don't think auxiliary control was there.
no.
And I don't think the briefing room was done either. So we just used the captain's quarters, the corridor, and the transporter room and the bridge set. And I mean, it's a gorgeous set. And I always loved the Farragut sets because when you walked on the bridge set, they didn't squeak like other sets did. So it was a good, solid upper tier floor. I had some of the actors leaning back on the consoles, and nobody freaked out because the consoles were strong enough to actually hold them. And then coming back for Farragut Fest, and I forget what year it was, but it was right. It was while we were filming The Crossing, or just after we filmed The Crossing. You guys did a Farragut Fest, and I was able to see auxiliary control and sick bay and all of that. And I haven't seen the engine room, but I've seen pictures, and it looks amazing. But I mean, my God, what a dream come true! I mean, I remember after filming For Want of a Nail, I said to myself, I know what it is to stand on the bridge of a starship. I know how high the railing is. I know where not to hit your knee on the side of the
Remember that.
chair, Michael. You know, it's I could close my eyes and I could remember the dimensions of things and the locations of things and thinking, look, what a dream come true. You know, holding a phaser, touching a uniform, all of that stuff, just from my whole child. Yeah. It's just it's freakishly geeky, but I loved every moment of it, and I really wish I could do that again. I mean, it was so fun to do and direct scripted stories that were actually stories where you're crafting characters and you're crafting an arc, or you're trying to get from one plot point to another plot point. I've done documentaries, and those are great, but they're nowhere near as fun as filming Farragut.
Yes, let me tell you, I was answering Nefarious Ferrets about the jacket, and while you were telling us, Mark, about actually being here, my theme was, this is the closest I get, man. Is actually wearing this. So,
No,
yes.
because we asked John if you'd be in the next one in Farragut Forward.
Yes, and I hope to in any way possible, and I mean that, folks, because I understand, and seriously, when it comes to this, I understand that a lot of people have contributed more time than I have. And I understand that. I get it. There are things that I have to do to earn my way. So that's why I said I'll be his assistant, and I can work my way out. But that means he has to commit too. But be that as it may, I did find it, folks, and I want you gentlemen to help me phrase the response. I've never done this on air. So
well, Mark has great Markisms,
and I figured, and that's why I've never done this.
If there's anybody to come up with a response, it's Mark.
Okay. I cannot share everything that he wrote because it's not fair. It's not proper. It's not civilized. But I will say, he does say, so yes, I happily look forward to being able to call you a mother effer again if you wish. That's what he said on air. And then he said, give me time. Oh, he didn't say that on air. He said in an email. It's actually quite a bit more to the email. John is a beautiful soul. And he is given, I've met him in person, and he's great. He really is. But anyway, he says, give me time, frames, and options, comma, pretty flexible. So if I were there in front of the person and they said pretty flexible, I would have a retort. This is video that will hound me for the rest of eternity. So I'm not going to respond. But, gentlemen, there it is. So I said, hi, John. Thank you for your response and interest. We can't wait. I could end it at that, but I'm not. I will readily replace that. And gentlemen, let's go for it. This man is quick and sharp, okay? He appreciates a good retort.
Yeah, I'm trying to think of the name of the facial muscles that pull up the smile, because I remember his character had the ability to sort of Jack Nicholson himself, a la Joker.
Oh, yeah. And then when he got scared, right, of the defense mechanism, he puffed up like a. Oh, good God, that's funny.
Wait, what was the episode where he and Tuvok got merged in the transporter accident?
Okay, well, that was actually Voyager.
That was Voyager. You're right.
Yes.
That was Voyager. Okay.
Actually, I believe you meant Neelix in Voyager.
Yeah.
No,
yeah.
But you got everything else right. The Doctor, yes, he's on Enterprise.
Right. No. Yeah, it's John Billingsley's character though has the
yes. You were absolutely right on. You knew exactly who I meant.
But I just committed a major Star Trek faux pas. So,
young man, and I try to brush it over as best I can. I'm doing my best.
There's so many to keep track of now. It's so crazy.
Oh, my goodness.
Used to just be 79 episodes. That was all we had.
Well, they passed 800 now. I think they're at 801 or 802.
Wow.
Yeah, depends.
Does that count ours?
I always count yours. That makes it 810.
Awesome. Hey.
Makes it 810. I apologize. It was for the regular viewing audience. You see, I just screwed up, Mark. Oh, check this out.
All right,
Yeah,
why
flocks.
don't you tell them that you're as
Okay.
flexible as your flux capacitor?
Oh, excellent.
Ooh, that's good.
Oh my God, that is great, John. We are right. We are as flexible. He's funny. Flexible as your. I'm going to put JOHN. Do I put hyphen? Hyphen, right? John capacitor, right?
Flux capacitor.
Flux
Oh, I'm
capacitor.
sorry. As your flux capacitor. See, now I wasn't paying attention.
And you're really going to go with that? That was just the first.
Oh, no. If we have more as we go along, once I
Yeah.
have your approval and the audience's approval.
Well,
Then
we've
you'll
got
press
9 more
play.
hours to think of something. So.
Okay. All right. I get it. Okay. So I have it. I really do. I have it. Thank you for your response and interest. We can't wait, John. We are as flexible as your flux capacitor. So there it is right now. Folks, I'm going to tell them that we are available Monday through Friday from about 6 p.m. to, yes. And we can see him at any time. If he wants to do a weekend as well, that's good. But I've noticed with John, when he's available, it's always during the week because I think he's out about. He's an avid bird watcher, and he does that a great deal. And I find it amusing in Los Angeles. I said, "You actually do that?" But he says he goes up into the hills. So okay, all right, John. Sure, sounds great. But anyway, it's not about John. Just keep that in mind. That's our first one. I'm good with it, folks. Because all I have to do after that is just tell them, yeah, Monday through Friday, 6 p.m. Pacific time through what time? You know how long it takes. John has almost always given us an hour and a half. Almost always. He's very kind and he's fun. So I'm telling you, 3, when he commits, you already are welcome to join that interview. So be ready to go. He's very quick. But have no illusion. It is the John Billingsley Show at that point. He's a lot of fun. He has a lot of stories to tell, and it's really good. But I'm taking away from Mark. Mark, you mentioned you were involved in that first episode, and you did quite a bit. You also, it was for Want of a Nail. Gentlemen, Michael and Michael, wasn't for Want of a Nail, lengthwise or duration of episode, wasn't that the longest episode?
It was.
What was the running time on that one? Was that one close to 2 hours?
85 minutes.
An hour and a half, which is still impressive. Yeah.
Does that include the credits with the final scene in there?
Yep.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah,
For
because that was
one shot. Yeah. I believe other fan programs have done 2-parters, which are probably equal to that. Go ahead, Mark.
And don't forget that For Want of a Nail won the Best Picture in Wrath of Khan in 2007, maybe? You have it handy?
I do.
Oh, wow.
I think it is 2007. Yeah.
That's the one where the away team went down to the surface and had those awesome away jackets, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Actually, Wrath of Khan, Best Film Festival, Best Fan Film, 2008. So this was the first one, if I'm not mistaken.
Wow.
Right.
Yes.
There we go.
I'm going to put you on solo view for that one.
Okay.
Forgive me, Michael. Yeah, look at it. Check it out. That's awesome.
And
Wrath
then
of
the
Khan,
next year, we did this one.
The Wrath of Khan Film Festival Best Fan Film. Wow. 2 in a row.
So Michael and I drove how many hours, Michael,
Jesus.
to
That's
that-
probably good 10, 12 hours, 12 hours maybe.
to
Because this was at what?
Panama City Beach.
That's right, Panama City Beach. So that was, good Lord, that's probably at least
We had to drive to Florida and then
13,
drive
14 hours.
Yeah. And it was the drive back that was so, God, we were so tired. We'd stayed up pretty much the entire night celebrating.
So we won, so we were pumped.
Yeah. But I'll never forget that the best compliment ever paid after we did the screening was some women that were just about our age. They said, "You get it. You get what Star Trek's about." And that was really the goal. Was, from my standpoint, I wanted to be sure that this was a this was a story that it was a story, a good story, and it was about some important life-changing events for some of the characters, and that it had impact on their lives. Otherwise, why tell the story? And I wanted to keep it in the vein of what the original series was all about, as far as the non-interference directive, and just trying to keep it as much Trek as I could, and some people noticed that, so that was great. It could probably have been edited a little tighter.
Okay.
We could have done some things better. And a dear Farragut friend actually said something to me at Farragut Fest. He's like, "Do you have like the original files? I'd love to take about 15 minutes off of that film, just to tighten it up a little bit." I was like,
Mark, I have an answer to you on that. Very recently, William Shatner was interviewed, of all things, and they asked him about, I believe movies 1 through 4 are being redone, right, gentlemen, in 4K, and they commented to him on how they were going to be making some changes, etc. and stuff, and he says, "They're making changes for what? To correct errors, to correct some mistakes, editing, misalignment?" He says, "No, movie making is human. It is in its rawest form. And having a mic that slips in a frame, or a mark on, sorry, Mark, didn't take your name in vain, but the mark on the ground, it is character. It is what it is. And if something doesn't look right, you are taking the essence of what it was." Mm-hmm. So William Shatner did say that redoing these movies to add computer-generated stuff, he's not for. So,
well, I mean, watching what they did in remastering the original series with the computer effects for the spaceships and that sort of thing, I think it was a vast improvement and showed how well the stories themselves held up. Now, I'd probably feel totally differently if they computer regenerated the bridge set or uniforms or something like that. But to fix or make look more realistic the special effects that were in their infancy when the series was being made, personally, I think that's an improvement to it. And then one of the other most frequently said phrases that I heard in making any of our Farragut projects was, "Oh, we'll fix it in post." If something went wrong, or you would always hopefully have an editor that would be able to manipulate things and make up for that mistake. And I learned very quickly that it's much, much better to do a second safety take than to try and spend hours and days trying to fix something. I just recently tortured myself for 3 solid days trying to fix a mistake that I made during a shoot, and it's not pretty, But I agree. I think that some of the charm, like for instance of the classic sets, the 60s sets, some of the charm is that 60s mod design. It's retro, modern, future, past styles and stuff that I think are really, really cool. And so there is a lot of charm to that, and a lot of charm to seeing the zipper in the uniform, and the being able to see a little wrinkle in Spock's ear, to see the makeup. And of course, we're noticing things in high definition that we never saw when we were watching it on little TV sets that big. So,
I would agree. There's something I pointed out a few weeks ago when Michael was on, that I'm doing a rewatch from the very beginning in broadcast order, and they fell against a rock wall, and I could see the give. And
yeah,
I don't think that many viewings, I had never seen that before. Yeah. But I commented at the time, I'd like to see them get that out in post. And I don't know. I'm sure someone would be able to do it. I mean, if they redid Luke Skywalker for one of the episodes, and then was done much better by some rookie.
Well, so let's talk about that, because if you remember in the episode, The Empire Strikes Back, Luke is on Dagobah, and Yoda's trying to teach him, and he's talking about what's in the cave. And as it's either that scene or where he's going to raise the X-wing. But anyway, if you watch Yoda, he's on the ground and he's got a bunch of leaves scattered in front of him. But if you watch Mark Hamill, when he walks past him going away from the camera, he actually steps on the plywood. It wasn't very thick, and you can see the whole ground give way when he walks over it. Yeah.
Okay.
Just little things. I mean, and the battle scene between Luke and Vader, and Vader's sword goes over and it hits the metal rung. Okay.
Yeah.
If you catch the frame just before it hits, you'll see where it's just taped together.
Okay, yes. I will say, forgive me, gentlemen, I think I'm going to lose the entire audience right here. I was the perv. I did see it in 1983. The green girl, when she's struggling with Jabba, I was like, hey! I saw it clearly. And it's on VHS.
Oh, yeah.
It's everything. It was there for years, but I guess I'm just the old guy now that can get away with saying that. But I understand they corrected that. So I did catch that one, Michael. So,
Yep.
But fair enough. But would you really correct those guys?
No.
Okay.
Well, so
yes.
I would pose, if there's anything in need of a remake that could be done with original material,
Space 1999.
No, the animated series.
Oh.
So
Yeah.
I mean, you've got some really good stories that were written, and you've got the voice acting done by the original series actors. Can you imagine if somebody went back and did CGI or even just a better artistic type of animation? And God, the music, get rid of the music. Which they used in every episode, every time they're running in slow motion down the corridors, But if you could take that original voice acting, those original scripts, and redo those animated episodes, I think it would be a vast improvement.
But didn't Farragut do that already?
Well, we did more of a tribute to sort of we even reused the music, which was yeah.
All right, you got me on that one. All right.
Yeah, I helped a little bit with some of the voice recording for it, but just little minor stuff. And I was supposed to be a Romulan character in it, but I think I got replaced by Hal, who was the producer of the original series?
Oh, Lou Scheimer.
Lou Scheimer. I think his voice came in and replaced mine, but oh well. Cutting room floor.
Hey, Mark, don't feel so bad because you mentioned the bird of prey earlier. That was supposed to be Romulan. Remember that?
Yeah.
And then somehow it became Klingon. So go figure.
Which is fair trade for the Enterprise incident. Where they didn't have any new Romulan ships. They wanted to reuse that Klingon model.
Yep.
So one little line. Oh, the Romulans are using Klingon technology now. It's like, okay.
Yeah. And
boy, we bought that hook, line, and sinker.
Yeah.
We did.
But again, one of the things about making the Farragut episodes was we were filming a scene for Want of a Nail. The last shipboard scene was in the sick bay, and I wanted to have a communique from the bridge, and there's no intercom on any of the walls here in the sick bay. I said, well, let's just the camera. From the camera angle, the audience can't see what's behind this wall. Let's just pretend there's an intercom there. And started an argument, like a 20-minute argument about there was never an intercom there in any of the original episodes of Trek, blah, blah, blah. I'm like, come on. Look at how panels moved around the transporter room all the time. You had a food dispenser in the transporter room that was never there in any other episode. These guys just made it up as they went along, and we've got that freedom. Let's go ahead and do it. So...
And it's the Farragut, not the Enterprise anyway. So
true, and that was part of my argument, exactly.
It didn't dawn on me until you just said that right now, because I have been accused of being a canonista on air. And I like the phrase, I am a canonista. Canon. It's all about canon, and we point things out. I lost my mind where in Voyager, somehow they did something in particular with the phasers and the shields. And I'm like, hey, you can't do that! But it's in the episode and whatever. So I get that. The original series did do that stuff, but with you guys all had all that hindsight, and you guys did make those mistakes. There was something where you knew what had come, and you guys loved what you did, and it shows on screen, man. It's really cool. Even though you could have done it as a joke, you this could have been done as a joke, where you had that in there in one episode, then take it out and have a guy go by and wait, wasn't there a replicator there? That would have been great. But yeah, you never know. Maybe you can do that in Farragut Forward. Oh, hey, Mark, are you involved in Farragut Forward?
No, just a.
You want to be?
Oh, I can tell you want to be involved.
Are there going to be any agonizer props?
No. So I'll tell you what I know.
Michael,
sets are being built.
I'm seeing, yeah.
Okay. And I'm not doing them.
Yeah, you're not. Okay.
But I've been tasked to build the miniatures for them. So I'm building. I got done right now the Bird of Prey. I hand that over on Sunday, and after the first of the year, I start on. Absolutely. I start on the Miranda class.
Let's see. No agonizers and a Miranda class.
And you can blame me for John's, being really anal when it comes to the props, because that's the way I taught him.
Yeah.
I mean, I would make him look with a magnifying glass to see if there were any pinholes or anything.
Well, you two were building props like a decade before Farragut, or 2 decades before. So
I was doing models professionally since '93.
I built 4 sets of the AMT exploration kit props. So does that count?
Absolutely.
The exploration props?
So
the exploration set.
Which was the phaser, the communicator that was this big, and the tricorder.
The little itty bitty tricorder.
Yeah.
Okay, gotcha.
Yeah.
And the screen for the tricorder was the monster from
Herbert F. Solow.
Yes.
Who passed away.
China.
I didn't remember his name. He passed away, I think, within the last 3-4 years. Yeah, he was the executive in charge, right, at Desilu.
But that was the photograph that they showed when it was over his face. But
and that wasn't inside. Herbert Justman was ripping him. I don't know if you gentlemen have read that book that Robert Justman and Herb Solow they wrote.
Inside Star Trek?
I believe so.
Yeah.
Mark, did you read the book?
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah. Mark, I read that book, and forgive me, but we were going to have Nichelle Nichols on. We did have her, and I had one question for her, but I never got a chance because, well, you heard the episode. You know why. But never got a chance. I was going to ask her. I said, in your book, Nichelle, and well, hey, someone else can ask her this now. I cannot believe no one had asked her this, but if you've read her book, Beyond Horror, she told the story very briefly. It's a really sad story. It's about the casting couch. And she was going to be offered a job. I believe it was at MGM. This was after Star Trek. And it was implied that if she did what was required of her, she would get a 3-year deal. She'd be able to send her son to school, whatever, et cetera, et cetera. But she turned it down. She was insulted. She walked out. The secretary even knew what was going on, gave her a thumbs up, and she went on out. And she claimed that. Well, Herb was an executive at the studio at the time. And Mark, you remember reading this now, right? Where he said, Nichelle, I was there, and I would not have tolerated that. Why did you not come in? He actually said in the book, tell me who it was. And no one has ever made that connection. And maybe it turned out best that I was not able to ask Nichelle that question, but that was the one question I wanted to ask her was, Mr. Solow has asked you in this book, why did you see him regarding that? And
there's a lot of stories. I mean, these guys have been doing conventions and telling reminiscent stories and writing their books and that sort of stuff, all of them. Yeah. And stories change over time, and memories change over time. I remember on the on the vinyl LP that had an interview with Gene Roddenberry, and it had what was it called? It had the cover of the LP was a blueprint of looked like a blueprint of the Enterprise or something like that. Does anybody remember this?
Mm-mm.
It came out in the late '60s, early '70s.
Oh no!
But it's an interview. It has Gene Roddenberry telling some of the very early versions of his stories about the creation of Star Trek and that sort of thing. I heard Gene Roddenberry speak at the University of Maryland in 1983, and he was just making stuff up.
Oh.
You know, I mean, it was, and then, you know, there's been how many interviews have been done, and how many times have these stories been told, and just watch how they subtly change over time. So I wouldn't necessarily. I wouldn't get too upset about it, but there can be some. I mean, that is a pretty serious accusation to be made, and you know, and if the book that I read constantly is These Are the Voyages.
Oh yes,
the 3 volumes of the story behind every single episode, and how the story developed, and the memos that were written about it, and the memos back and forth between departments and that sort of thing. I mean, that's documented stuff.
yes.
You know, that's the history buff in me that that really you can't argue with that stuff. But personal memories, they change.
I imagine some of the memories have changed for Farragut as well, and we're already looking at 16 years since it began, Michael, back in 2005, right, Mark? You were there almost from the very beginning as well, right?
Actually, I was part of the. God, can I find some pictures? Have you shown the pictures of the series trailer that we did in 2005?
Oh no,
No,
Mark
No.
concentrated on.
Although, let me tell you, there was a interview I saw recently with John, talking to some guy I think out in L.A. or something, that played the early trailer that we had for it. This was pre-captaincy.
Right.
So I think is that the one you're talking about? Has a lot of narration over it at the beginning of it.
Yeah. Can you see this, Michael?
Michael could probably see it. No one else can see it right now.
I can't.
Okay, now it is.
There you go. Oh, look at that. Hey, Mark.
Now, yeah. Now, if there's any video, folks, unfortunately, it will not play on air.
Okay.
Yeah.
He played something before we started and it worked.
Oh,
But
all right. Well,
I
then we'll see.
don't know if it will work now, but it did.
Well, if we hear it, the audience is able to hear it.
Okay.
Oh,
Well-
wow. Yep. Look at
Oh,
that.
that's Paul. Yeah.
Paul Sieber.
Hey,
There's a pretty lady.
Hey, Mark. I just sent you a text message
And
or a same time messenger chat.
tell the princess I said hello right back at her.
Will do.
So there's proof that Mike was a red shirt originally.
Yep.
So
Wow, you survived. So you have that in common.
Well, if you remember,
You are a red shirt. No, just kidding.
if you remember, I said in the beginning I didn't want to be in it. I that guy right there in the blue shirt. Go back one. That's Rob Turner. That's where the RT came from. Rob Turner.
Oh, yes.
yep.
So that was originally the science officer for Farragut.
Where was this?
Yeah. It wasn't Mason Neck State Park, was it?
No, that was where you did the captaincy, right? This was it was a park of some kind.
Yeah, it was a park, and then we filmed part of the captaincy at my folks' house also,
Right, I remember that. That was the captain's quarters, right?
and some of the outside shots.
You know, that's good makeup even back then, guys.
Yeah, well,
That's really good stuff. But we had not seen those images. Actually, what Michael has been sharing with us was how it began, but from the background of the
construction.
sets, yes. There's a lot more to be told on Farragut. And that was just, it, for lack of a better word, Michael set up the building blocks
Yeah.
of where the sandbox was. I guess, for lack of a better word, right, Michael?
Yeah.
It's the actual sandbox. And then everything else. Mark, that was a great view. We haven't seen too many of those images yet.
And that disruptor that I worked on so hard, there was one scene where I was hitting somebody across the face with it, and I let go, and the disruptor flew about 20 yards and broke in half. So, yeah, all sorts of stuff can happen.
Anyway, gentlemen, it's 10 o'clock. I got to go to bed. Mark,
Great seeing you, Michael.
Always good to see you again, buddy. Always good to see you.
Hey, as the Orion Slave Girls said at Wrath of Khan.
Yeah, but it was at you, not me.
Just back at you.
I didn't even think they noticed I was in the same elevator.
Oh, ha ha. That's funny.
So I can expect the chair by Christmas?
That's what I'm hoping, and I plan on having something else available for you to pick up. So make sure you got a big vehicle, or are you expecting a delivery?
Okay. Well, we'll have to talk about that.
Okay, because I traded in the Mustang. I got a truck now.
All right.
Yeah.
You're a big boy now.
All right, fair enough.
All right, guys.
Michael,
You take care.
Thanks for joining us, Michael.
Take care, Mike.
All right, buddy.
Well,
So now we
Mr.
can
Dave-
talk about it.
Yeah, definitely. We're definitely going to talk about it right now. That's the first thing I was going to say. Hey, Michael, notice the only way we can get Michael on is if someone else from Farragut is here. Otherwise, he will not do this program, period. I have been begging him for years to be on it. He just doesn't want to be on. But bring on someone else from Farragut, boom!
There he is.
And I kid, of course. He's been on quite a bit, which is really cool.
He is such a good person and so good to work with. Go ahead.
The same can be said of you, and the same can be said of that gentleman down there. And putting egos aside, forgive me, folks, I'm directing this to the audience as well as to my fellow guests right here, right now. You know, when you do stuff, you're always going to have someone that's going to try to rip or just want to be the egomaniacal person that wants to be the one in charge, responsible, the one that's going to create problems. And I'm sure Farragut had that person as well. But the vast majority of people worked together on Farragut and did the magic that they did. And it's really cool. And Mark, in the short time that I've been having this conversation with you, and even Michael down there in the box and everyone else, you guys are so genuine. I got to tell you. And it's you need that genuineness. I'm Latin, forgive me. That genuineness to make stuff happen. And even in your endeavors, you know, MYM hyphen ARORG. No, that wasn't it. No. Can you put that one back up, Michael?
I did. Yeah.
MYM-media.org. It takes that to happen, and it's really cool. And I cut you off, Mark, so I could be sanctimonious. I'm sorry.
No, I can't remember what I was going to say other than...
I do that a lot.
Other than...
we were talking about Michael.
Yeah, one of the toughest things working with people that aren't actors, and so I don't think we had. You could probably count on one hand the actual. Hey,
cousin.
I think you could count on one hand the actual number of actors that were involved in various Farragut projects, other than little cameo appearances every now and then. And so you had people that loved Trek, loved set building, prop construction, uniform making, and really always wanted to play in the sandbox, but didn't necessarily know how to act. And the one thing I have to say about Mike Bednar is that as soon as the cameras were rolling, he was tacking. He was all business. He focused. He really came across, and Holly too, who played Smithfield and who was Mike's wife. Really, they just settled right away. And so with the other actors, working with them behind the scenes when we weren't filming or whatever, seeing their personalities, their facial expressions, their natural behavior. Sometimes you point a camera at somebody and they kind of deer in the headlights, kind of don't remember how to use their hands or how to turn around or whatever. And so being able to work with them to bring those elements of their natural personalities out and into their characters was work, but it was fun work. And, I think they enjoyed the process. John Broughton was hungry as can be to learn as much as he could about acting. He took some acting workshops. He was very, very receptive to suggestions that were being made from me as a director, from other cast members, and that sort of thing. And everybody really did have a good time. We had a couple of incidents and a couple of people that didn't end up working out all that well. But for the most part, it was truly, truly a great experience.
You've made that clear to me, Michael.
Yeah, and it was. I mean, I always have the issues. I never wanted to be on camera.
But I always got you on, didn't I, Michael?
Yes, you did.
Unfortunately, we never finished our parody project.
Yay! I'm so happy about that.
Oh, please do tell.
But we invented brown shirts as opposed to red shirts and blue shirts and yellow shirts. And the brown shirts were the janitorial staff on the Starship.
Oh, good.
And so we made futuristic mops for them. And Michael and Rick Sprague, right, were our two brown shirts. And we wrote a little sketch and filmed it in a turbo lift. And I've got the footage here. And someday I'll produce something out of it. But
or destroy it.
No. Michael, you can't destroy that.
Yeah,
there was some good stuff, though.
Yeah.
I had pictures.
Oh, please, Mark. Yeah. The voyeur in me is losing his mind. Yeah, please.
Here we go.
Okay, share the screen, Mark.
Oh, you'll get to it.
Okay.
Yeah. So, folks, for those of you joining us, we have Mark Hildebrand on with us. His link is right at the bottom.
There I am. Okay.
But yet, that's cool, man. Brown shirt. And there's Michael on the right, brown shirt. Yes.
And this was a turbo lift set that we built in my house. And I would stand behind the screen with a light bulb on the end of a lamp, and I would move it so that if you're going up the decks or down the decks or whatever. But we had a lot of fun.
Oh, that has to see the light of day, folks. It has to see the light of day. Yep.
So we had a few old faces come back from For Want of a Nail and from Rockin' a Hard Place. That's Jake Asachi and Jamie Hanna. And Rick Sprague on the left, who I think had played 4 different roles on For Want of a Nail. So next time you watch For Want of a Nail, see if you can spot him in the background.
Oh, look at that. Wow, that's the set.
That's the set.
So Jake's character had a transporter accident where he had feet for hands.
That's funny. That's creative.
Let me get to the really good picture here.
What is the color of your hair, Michael? Is it red? Is it brown? Auburn? What is it?
It's a mix. That's what it was back then.
What?
A mix. It was the summer, so
what does your license say on it?
Now, gray.
No, then.
Then it was brown.
Brown. Okay. I had brown hair once too.
John really likes this picture.
I bet he does. He translated that into an image within the last year. I think it's a James Bond.
And then we threw a little Charlie's Angels in there. So
oh, heck yeah. That is cool.
I call this Carter's Angels.
Oh.
So, yeah, that was a lot of fun. But
you guys have to do that, brown shirts. I mean, first of all, I hear brown shirts, and the historical guy in me is like, okay, where are we going with this? So when you said brown shirts, I'm like, really? Are we going to talk about that right now?
Well, so
when you mentioned genitals, I'm like, oh, okay, great.
So have you ever been to FedCon?
In Germany?
Yeah.
No, I have not. I have not been.
So one and only time I went with a buddy of mine who helped me man the Starship Farragut table. They had the bright idea in Bonn, Germany, to make all of the security staff at the convention were stormtroopers out of Star Wars. But you think about stormtroopers, they did a group photo on the lawn in front of the hotel with about 150 guys or people in stormtrooper outfits, everything from the bike riders to the Hoth ones to the Death Star ones, whatever. But yeah, stormtroopers.
That is cool.
Brown shirts.
At a Star Trek.
At a Star Trek convention.
That is awesome.
Sci-fi convention.
Okay, sci-fi. That's all good. That's really neat. I like that. So there was crossover back then. So, all right. As Michael was fishing, I'm going to follow up on it. You want to be involved? Like I have any involvement whatsoever. But are you involved in Farragut Forward? Do you want to be involved?
I would love to.
There it is. That's it. Cut.
Cut print. No, it's probably not an option for me for the near future. But someday I'd like to get back involved. Someday I'd like to build my own sets, and do what you want. But it's such a shame what happened with the copyright protections with Paramount and the changes that happened that really make a fan series, a real difficult thing to do nowadays.
Yeah, that's something that we've hinted about here on this program and we've mused about. It's really a shame, and it's quite frankly directed at one group.
Right.
And that group and individual is he who shall not be named.
Right.
We have no time for that. And it's just a shame because you mentioned one of the ones that I love pointing out as well. A lot of people don't know about it still, and that is Exeter. Wow. That was my first taste of a fan film, and that was impressive. Their whole thing was, yeah, folks, you can do modern stories in a TOS setting.
Yep.
And it was great. They did 2 episodes, and it was a lot of fun. So, go ahead.
Well, the thing that intrigued me so much about Farragut, different from the Captain Kirk, Mr. Spock remakes that everybody was doing, is number one, there's no urgency of trying to find an actor that looks like another actor who played a part, years ago, but to do it with new characters, new stories, and that's really what I wanted to do. I wanted to let's not go meet the Gorn. Let's not go have a Klingon fight. Of course, we did plenty of Klingon episodes, sure. But it's explore. Go find new civilizations. Go interact with them and use them to help tell a story. And what we did with For Want of a Nail was to have a group of armchair historians who were interviewing with history or interfering with history and not realizing the damage that they were causing to the thing that they cherished the most, which was history, to be archivists and that sort of thing. So we had to invent a new alien race, new costumes, new ideas, but with the Farragut characters themselves, what are their backstories? We're not duplicating the characters that from the classic series, but able to do something new. But one of the problems with creating alien names is that some of the actors have trouble pronouncing them. I guess Shatner did that a lot too. He sort of scrambled some alien names around, or the Mugatu or Mugata, which they just made fun of on Lower Decks. But
yeah, they did. That's right.
Mike Bednar had a real problem with the Solani, which was the race that I invented to be these historians, and he kept calling them the Solenoid, which has something to do with car repair and engine parts.
A solenoid.
Yeah.
Yes. Okay. All right. Solenoid. Wow. How difficult is that? Solenoid.
But yeah, I mean that's it. And at Wrath of Khan, that convention in Florida that Mike Bednar and I went to, Richard Hatch was there. And it was while he was trying to reboot Battlestar Galactica before they got the new series going, right? or had they
Yeah.
gotten the new
No,
series?
no, I don't think.
Wait a minute. I'm sorry. I was distracted. I just got a message. But I do want to give some shout outs. Again, Steve Semmel, Tony Konopka, Jacob Hayes, Alan Tomlinson. I think I may have had. D.A. Roberts. Thank you. We're up to 5 on the likes. I have to take a minute. I'll be back. But you were asking about Richard Hatch. Remember, he did the Magellan Wars, and that was before
Right.
Ronald D. Moore.
Right.
Is that what your question was?
Well, no, it wasn't a question. It was
Sorry.
just something that he said to us. He came over to the table and said, "Yeah, this is great. What Starship, this stuff that you guys are doing." He said, "But what? Go write your own stuff. Create your own series. Create your own universe. Don't base it on anybody else, and then you'll really have fun." And it was kind of ironic coming from him because he had done that. His own project to try and reboot it, and then got involved with the Ronald D. Moore Battlestar Galactica. But I think that's good advice, and I've really toyed around with the idea of wouldn't it be great to do your own web series where there's no copyright infringement, there's no copyrighted material whatsoever. The problem is that you got to find a really good art director to build really cool sets and design really cool uniforms and really cool props.
Michael, John.
They certainly got creative, when we did come up with some new props and stuff. Like for instance, the environmental compensator for one of the characters in For Want of a Nail was a reworked Star Trek: The Motion Picture tricorder that had new buttons and stuff on it. And heck, I guess a lot of weren't the lightsabers in Star Wars actually some type of a film canister or something like that, or a flashlight maybe?
I think so. And then just
so that's what everybody else does.
Yeah. I mean,
but as close as we got, Michael, was were the sci-fi mops for your brown shirts.
Well,
so.
Yeah, and I still try to forget about those.
Why are you trying to cover that up, Michael? Brown shirts.
But that isn't the reason. It's when I kept telling them all I can't memorize lines, and they did not believe me. How many takes did I go through, Mark, and it still didn't get it right? At least 22.
It was pure joy.
Was it really 22?
I don't remember.
But yeah, it was.
It was probably quite a few, but
You have a new nickname, Michael. It's Deuce.
Yeah, of course.
Wow. Okay. Fair enough.
Yeah, and I practiced them for weeks, and I got there and I could not remember a thing. It was terrible. But I've always been like that with stuff like that. So.
They weren't Shakespearean lines, so you didn't have a lot to work with in the first place.
No, well, still.
But Shakespeare's already there. You're making up your own stuff, which is really funny. Mark, it's interesting that you mentioned you'd read some of my reviews, and now I'm super embarrassed. But I think you will remember that was one of my complaints when I reviewed all these other programs, where I said, "Dude, make up your own stuff." What is the point? I mean, being able to imitate the Engage or Here It Comes, look, we all want to do that. We all did in our backyards.
Right.
It's make up your own stuff.
Right. We called that fanboy.
Oh, yes.
So, I mean, does it really have to be a race that was encountered in another episode, or come up with something new? I mean, what's the deal? And heck, people aren't going to be as judgmental of the costume and makeup if it's something new, as opposed to they didn't get the antenna right or something like that for an Andorian. So,
well, but then you're going to have the people that are just going to complain because they live in Mama's basement and they have nothing better to do. And the best complaint is the one that gets the most air, or the best put down is the one that can become a meme. It's just a shame.
Well, it's that's the way of the world now.
Unfortunately, yeah, it is. But like I said, what you guys did was some exciting stuff, and it just because of where you were located, I think you had access to much more talent as opposed to out here on the West Coast. If you want to do a fan program, there's just not as many people. The distances are greater, but you did all Mark. You did all your stuff in the Washington D.C. area, right? You never went down to where they were in Georgia, or did you?
No. So we did a short episode, a crew log called Night Shift in 2012, maybe. And the aliens were two actors that I'd worked with in community theater here in Annapolis, and they were absolutely delightful to work with. And I said, this is something I want to do with. I wanted to try and not use any of the Starship Farragut actors or characters, with the exception of John Broughton, so that it wouldn't be a drain, because they were working on another production, and time was tight and scheduling was difficult. So we didn't want to be a drain on that, but we just wanted to come down and use the sets. And I said, let's do the night shift of the bridge, which are the people that are not normally there, and let's have a little story happen around them. And so it was a whole bunch of new faces. Mike Bednar's voice is in it, and John Broughton's at the beginning and at the end of it. But I also wanted to do all of the, other than the Starship flybys, I wanted to do the special effects myself. I was really just trying to say, now if I'm into filmmaking full time, I want to try and build this whole thing from the ground up. And so the cheesy, the cheesy explosion that happens on the bridge, and the cheesy force field that's around one of the characters, was me playing around with After Effects and trying to come up with something cool. I really should have outsourced that to somebody else, but I didn't. But it was great, because I'd not worked on those sets before. One of the downsides to it, though, was that a lot of the filming took place at the engineering console. And so the science console and the communications console all had fancy blinking lights. They were done on sequencers. Some of them had actual computer monitors and stuff. But the engineering console just had a light on with colored areas. So I had to go back, and in every scene, I had to mask out these things so it looked like the lights blinked on the console behind them. It took forever. But to actually turn that console into a living console. And then I also remember the frustration of telling the actors sitting at the helm and navigation, don't hit the buttons all the time, because every time you hit the buttons, somebody's got to put a sound effect in for that button. And besides, what are you doing? You're going straight ahead at warp whatever it is. There's nothing to avoid. You're not in a space battle or anything. You should maybe touch one button here, and then maybe that one button over there, So, but the temptation when you're sitting there at the console is you just want to play around and push buttons and look like you're doing something really busy. I'll never forget when we first filmed on the Ticonderoga sets. One of Rick Sprague, who I went to high school with, he was about 40 times more of a Star Trek fan than I am, and still is. But I remember he sat down on one of the consoles and was making these teeny little beep, boop, 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 boop. And I said, Rick, what are you doing? He said, I'm rehearsing. He wanted to know exactly what the sequence of the buttons would be for whatever the next command would be, and make sure that he did it exactly the same every time, which is great, because if you're cutting a scene, you don't want to have inconsistencies going on. So, but anyway.
No, that is good stuff. I know that in Star Trek, some of the directors would tell, I guess they were called supernumeraries, right? The extras. And they would tell them, look like you're doing something, work your station. Don't just sit there. And there was something else related to that, where if they did a sequence of events to fire phasers, the producer said, yeah, there's so many different ways to do it. You could fire phasers in so many different ways. So don't get your heart set on that's the way to do it.
Right.
I think case in point, what was in Star Trek Generations, the young lady that played Sulu's daughter,
Yeah,
her extravagant way of firing the thing from the deflector shield.
yeah,
Yeah, no one ever done it. But then the Council was unique to that show and that shit or that movie. So
different ship. Yeah,
yes,
there's always an excuse.
yes, always. Now, when you did for Want of a Name, and you heard that this gentleman said that he would cut it down 15 minutes. I mean, look, do you really believe? Okay, speaking as the filmmaker that you are, looking back, would you cut it 15 minutes, or would you have fixed?
I don't know if it would add up to 15 minutes, but the space of time, and one of the things that I learned over time is with editing, is the cutting between shots. And when someone says a line, trying to get a reaction shot from somebody, there's sometimes way too much space in between the cuts. It just doesn't feel natural. And I think if you could cut out half a second here, half a second there, trim it up, make it tighter, make the flow go better, over the course of 85 minutes, you may be able to cut out 5. But no, I wouldn't cut any scenes per se. I wouldn't cut any dialogue, because I wrote it. It was all perfect dialogue. So there's
absolutely, yes.
You know, as Mozart said, which notes would you have me cut, sire?
Yeah.
But yeah, and that was also one of the bits of feedback that I got in Germany when we showed Rock in a Hard Place, which has a fight scene in it, and you know, I tried to keep it very exciting and very fast paced, and watching it for the 30th time, you're like, yeah, that really could be trimmed a little tighter, you know. And so you learn as you do it. And it was me learning with Starship Farragut that made me brave enough to go out and do my own thing. So I'm so grateful for that.
You know, Mark, tighter is a lot different than just 15 minutes. I think the person that told you that, and forgive me if they're even here or whatever, that's a typical Hollywood edict. Oh, you got to kill it 15 minutes. Paramount Pictures was famous for wanting their movies at 2 hours or less. They had to be 2 hours because Paramount was never the super studio. They never had all the money, so they needed volume.
Right.
So they wanted their movies under 2 hours. That's a perfect Paramount film, or used to be.
Yeah.
And that way they could have it play an extra time in the theater.
Yeah. Well, but look at the freedom that we have today with no commercials.
Oh,
you know, we don't have to fit into the time frame of a 60-minute time slot with 15 minutes of commercials in there.
Well,
folks, it's about 20 minutes now.
Yeah.
And look, Big Bang Theory, and no shot against them. If you look at the length of the episodes, they're 20 minutes, folks.
Really?
They're 20 minutes. 10 minutes of commercials. That equates to 20 minutes. Yeah. I remember when The Next Generation was on, you could count. They were still at about 13 to 14 minutes of commercials. By the time Voyager was ending, they were clearly closer to 15 minutes. Their runtime was down to 45 minutes. Next Generation was doing 47 to 48, which is what Kirk in his heyday was doing.
Right.
48 minutes, 12 minutes of commercial.
But even that, I mean, I was watching reruns of Star Trek on VHF channels, and they were throwing in way more commercials than they had when they originally aired. Oh, and yeah. I remember watching these episodes going, I've never seen that scene before. I've never heard that bit of dialogue before. And then, you know, think of all the scenes that ended up on the cutting room floor. Have you seen the Roddenberry Archives DVD set that came out about 3 years ago? They took maybe 6 episodes and put them on Blu-ray, but they also showed outtakes and alternate shots and that sort of thing. And there was this whole scene from the Corbomite maneuver, a speech that Sulu gives that was really well written, and they got it all from one camera angle. Bless you, Michael.
Yeah. I hit the wrong button.
Yeah, you did. That was funny. But the funny thing is, I'm the one that sneezed based on the image. But go ahead.
But yeah, I mean, and now to to be able to see some director's cuts. Like I did a director's cut of Night Shift, just changing a couple of things after we released it, and it wasn't a big change to it, but there's things that you want to keep in, things that you would do a little bit differently if you had complete control over things, and so.
But again, that's part of the movie making process. It's not one individual. It
Right.
is something where, whether it's 2-3 people or whether it's hundreds, you get together and nothing is perfect. Nothing is. Even the Lord of the Rings, even they messed up. But it's phenomenal what they did. But my point is that everyone is involved. There's going to be something where it's, are there pet projects still? Are those, who does those? Who can? It's, yeah. And before I even get further lost in this tirade, it's just that you guys put everything aside, did it on your own time, contributed both time, money, effort, everything. And look at what you guys did and are still doing. And you took that to create your own company, which is right down there. And for everyone else joining us a bit late, it is mym-media.org. And that is your company again, Mark, would you tell us?
It's called Make Your Mark Media, and we're a nonprofit film production company. We've done a lot of work with kids in the public school system. We have a great, what's called a magnet school of the Performing and Visual Arts program here in Annapolis that draws students from 2 different high schools and 2 different junior high schools, I believe. Maybe it's just the 2 high schools in the area. But these are kids that are focusing on the performing and visual arts. So filmmaking, drama, dance, poetry, all sorts of stuff. And we did some work with them at Studio 39 at their magnet school, and then got involved in the internship program. And so some of them who interned with us for summer have become employees of Make Your Mark Media. And luckily, we've had the TV studios for the city of Annapolis to be sort of a home base. So not only are we creating public service announcements, information pieces, and covering events in Annapolis for the city, but we're able to use it as a sort of like a teaching lab to give kids the opportunity to start working with equipment. We're able to keep our equipment there. So the kids use our equipment, and then if we end up hiring them, then they'll start using the city equipment. But it's not a news studio or any type of a full-time studio. I call it sort of the Mayberry of TV studios. There's a lot of freedom to learn and be creative, but I really think that the best thing that we can do, besides the fact that I can pick these young brains and get some great ideas on technology and editing techniques and special effects and that sort of thing that they've learned and played around with in school, that helps benefit some of the projects that we all do together, but that this really is an opportunity for them to stretch their arms and play around on sort of a higher level with it and make some choices as to whether this is something they want to do, as the next stage in their life or maybe as a later stage in their life.
Mark, what's running through my mind right now is the connection that both you and Mark have, how you, well, first in your case, Mark, wanting to be involved in Farragut to eventually do your own, which you're doing now. And it's a nice, neat little connection. Michael has told the story that as an educator, he taught, I'm forgetting the word now, animation, and he used the Enterprise without the kids knowing it. So when the movie debuted, they're like, hey, it's Star Trek. Like, yeah. But Michael taught kids animation, and you're also teaching others to be involved in media. And some of it is due to Farragut. Some of it is due to Star Trek. That is really cool. Is that art imitating life or life imitating art?
Right.
That's a nice connection, Mark. Or both, yes.
Yeah.
I tell you, it's just yet another example of what that funny little TV show did, right?
Inspired.
Yes, inspired real life people to do what both of you do, what other people have done going up into space, and invented the cell phone. Mark, you know the story, right? There was a kid or a young man who was watching Star Trek, saw Kirk flip out the, rip out the flip phone. And he says, "I want one of those." And he is now the gentleman retired in Malibu, well into his third age, that made it happen. He owns over 100 patents to a cell phone or mobile phones, whatever.
And do you know how excited I was to get my Wand Company Bluetooth Star Trek communicator? That those came out. Yeah, and it actually works as a phone.
Yes, I didn't take my communicator yesterday when I flew, but I usually have my communicator right here, and I have that one that you're talking about.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness!
It actually works, and it's.
Oh yes. Do you use it, Mark, out in public?
I used
I
it.
do.
I used it out in public when I first got it. I have a friend here in Annapolis, Eric Lund, who's been in a couple of the. Thank you. Who's been in a couple of the Farragut productions. He has one, and so we've gone to a couple of Halloween parties in our Star Trek uniforms and called each other up while we're there. It's silly, geeky stuff, but.
Oh my goodness! I wear the Discovery badge, the metal one, not the pin one. But I've worn it, and people ask me, "Is that the Bluetooth?" Like, yeah, is that the Bluetooth one? No, but I have it on my belt, and I go ahead and I bring it out. This one is, and I tell them that, and they just can't believe it. And I present it to them. I hold it. Go ahead, and it's amazing how they look at it. I'm like, go ahead. And the universal gesture.
Yeah,
they never did, and they get it right the first time. Yeah. It is so cool. It is.
But somebody at one of our Farragut productions had thought of that, had actually put a Bluetooth something in a communicator prop, and it worked sometimes. It didn't work consistently, but they built it on their own. But that's innovation. That's where that kind of stuff comes from.
Yeah, and I mentioned the gentleman's name. Look him up. He's in Popular Science. They interview him regularly. But I just referenced that because of what you are doing, Mark, and indirectly we've talked about what Michael has done. It is so cool. You're giving these kids, these young adults, the ability to shape their lives, which is absolutely awesome.
Or test the waters and see if it's something that interests them, or what aspect of it interests them. So, yeah, and it's also it's given me the ability to continue to learn and grow. New challenges present themselves all the time. Technical challenges, situations where you got to kind of think on your feet and figure out how you're going to use the equipment that you have in the best way possible. But it sure beats sitting behind a desk all day long and pushing paper, which I did for many, many years. So.
Oh, hell yeah. Well, look, before we forget, my email is open. I didn't see any other suggestions, folks. I'm going to go with Mark's. Mark, may I have your permission to use that line for John Billingsley?
Oh.
Yeah.
It's yours.
I'm gonna do it right now, folks.
Okay.
All right. It says, John, we are as flexible as your flux capacitor. Monday through Friday, 6 p.m. to 11:30 p.m. Other times are available as well, and we will, I use that in capital letters, work around your schedule.
Okay, so Roger,
yes.
don't miss the important thing that I'm that I have to stress all the time is never avoid a pun when you can use one, and make sure that you're using a flux capacitor, since that's the name of his character in Enterprise. So
PHLOX.
Great.
Yep, I went
sounded
with
like you
one.
said flux just then. So
I'm sorry, it's my accent. No, that's good, and I thank you for that. No, we did. I'm sending it now. It is done. I'm getting a spelling check. That's funny. I did. Okay, it's gone.
Make sure you don't have it autocorrect.
No, I'm ignoring all, and I don't have it. And the funny thing is, it's ripping our prior emails. I guess I wrote 11 at night, but that's neither here nor there. But that's it. It's done. It's gone. So, Mark, I know your time is valuable, but I'm committing you to it.
Okay.
I would love for you to join us, and Mike as well. I think he will. So when
That would
he
be
comes
exciting.
back, oh, folks, nothing personal. It was the easiest interview in the world. He's an entertainer.
Yeah.
And he loves engaging with his audience. I am the lucky guy that gets to say, that I'm setting this up, which is really, really cool. Yeah, folks, I ask you to forgive me. I need a minute. I'll be back.
Okay.
So, Michael, I will be wrapping up if that's okay, but
That
I
is
won't.
okay.
I won't leave you here on screen by yourself while Roger's away. So,
Any final words, Mark?
I don't know. Do you have any final words for me, Michael?
Well, I am so grateful for all the encouragement and the patience that you had with me during all the things, and actually for that help that you gave me when I was asked to do a voiceover. And I had never done a voiceover before, and I appreciate all the help you gave me that afternoon.
Happy to help. And Michael, thank you for your enthusiasm and your dedication and your patience with some of us and all of us. But you're a much needed cornerstone certainly for Starship Farragut, and I'm sure you're the same for the other organizations that you work with. And you're a gift. So thank you for all that you've given in the past, and I hope that we can work together on another project someday.
I would like to, Mark. I enjoyed my little contribution to Anthem. I really enjoyed that.
Yeah,
Oh.
well, thank you.
You were also involved in Anthem, Michael? That is cool.
Just a real little bit.
Wow.
I'm going to have to take a look at that. I'm going to look for it. Is it something that's readily available at PBS or?
No, PBS just about 6 months ago, they said they're going to stop airing it because it came out in 2012, and one of our key interviews was the governor of Maryland at the time, Martin O'Malley, and
Yes.
because it's so much time has passed since then, it loses a little bit of its relevance. And I've been doling out private links to it on my Vimeo page. We actually did we created a teaching platform for fourth graders and eighth graders, using excerpts of the film to teach various aspects of social studies and history.
Wow.
And had a lot of usage of that, and then that just kind of died off after the bicentennial period ended in 2014. But I'm about this close to going ahead and making it a public video on YouTube or on Vimeo. So in the meantime, I'll be sure to pass on that link to it. And you know what? I'll just go ahead and make it public. It's certainly time. So I'll let you know when that happens, and you can certainly pass that on to your viewers if you like.
We will.
And,
I would love to. I will check it out myself. I want to see it, and maybe we can talk about that as well. It is still a work. I guess I'm going to ask you this question. We are going to talk about it, but you don't have to answer it now. But in the making of that, every time we put our head down into something, we learn something new. Okay, I'm sure you did, especially when it comes to this Anthem. I'm sure you learned something new.
well, this story is the most, certainly up to 2012. If I asked anybody on the street, what 3 things can you tell me about the Star Spangled Banner, 2 of them would probably be wrong. And it's one of the most mistold stories in history. There were people that I was working with who were saying, yeah, it was my great-great-great-grandfather that said to Francis Scott Key, this melody would go great with this poem that you wrote. And other people had passed down stories, and things just got very convoluted. I heard park rangers at Fort McHenry telling the story wrong. And we know what the facts are of what happened, during the bombardment and where people were and all that sort of stuff. And we clear that up in the film. And I have to say the Wikipedia page on the Star Spangled Banner was only about 3 pages in 2011. And a lot of it was wrong, and it very quickly got corrected because a whole ton of historians threw themselves at the bicentennial of the War of 1812, and they'll be doing it again for the Revolutionary War, for the Declaration of Independence. Yes. I heard a story mistold. I remember the story of the Declaration of Independence mainly from watching the musical 1776, and they took a lot of liberties in telling that story. It's not all completely factual, but what's cool is that the real story in history is usually more interesting. It just needs to be told. So
yeah, I don't understand why people don't do that. Look, I slam them forever, and they're still not right. They have become their timeline. And History.com, I don't care if you're listening, because I'm tired of correcting your mistakes. The timeline, forgive me for bringing this in, but 2 days ago, the timeline is wrong. I don't even have any idea who wrote it. Did you even look at the video? Oh my goodness. It's embarrassing. I've written an article. I've posted it on, but whatever. I just don't get it. And look, I do not have a degree in history. I am an armchair historian.
And same thing with me, but working with historians, you end up learning a lot.
Yes.
So.
Now, I can tell you the 3 things that I know of Anthem. It's the British came in, they bombarded all night, and the next morning, the flag was still standing. And that is what gave him the impetus, was we took all their crap all night long, and the flag was still there. I'm really cutting it down to embarrassed.
So you go to the Smithsonian, and you see the giant flag that's on display in the Museum of American History, and there's one of the stars is missing.
Yeah.
And you hear a grandparent explaining to their grandchild, this was the flag that flew over Fort McHenry while it was being bombarded by the British. And that star that's missing is because a cannonball went right through the flag, and number 1, that wasn't the flag that was flying over Fort McHenry the night of the bombardment. And number 2, the damage done to the flag were souvenirs that were cut out by people over the years. That star was given to some visiting dignitary 130, 50 years ago, something like that. So, they're little things. I mean, it's not huge things, but that was the flag that's on display is the flag that was raised the next morning when the bombardment was over and the British had withdrawn. And that's the flag that Francis Scott Key sailed by when he returned to Baltimore and inspired him. So, it's just little things like that. A lot of people say he was on a British ship. He was not. But you have to watch the movie to get the whole story. The best part about it's the music, though.
Music is great. Yeah, music is great. No, I enjoy the music a lot.
Now, I do apologize, Mark. We took quite a bit of your time today, and we're still taking it now. I know you wanted to go at a particular time because it is late on the East Coast. Mark, I want to have you on again for at least 2 more times. One is a co-host with us, and the other one, if we get a chance, I really would love to discuss Anthem with you. I'm looking forward to seeing it, and I think it'd be neat to talk about it.
Great. Well, I look forward to coming back, and this has been a very, very enjoyable evening. It's great to get to know you, Roger, and Michael. Great to see you again.
Great to see you, Mark.
Let's do it again.
I thank you. And Michael has mentioned having you on before, and I'm glad it happened, and I look forward to this. And Mark, because you are the part of the Farragut family, you don't have to ask to join us if you want to join us. You have an open invite.
Just
want to talk, come on in.
Just arm my way in like Mike Bednar did.
That's right. Okay. Yes.
All right.
Yeah.
Great. So, I'll stick my foot in the door sometime.
Oh, I look forward to that. Anytime you want to talk about by all means, because over the next few I know next year I'm doing something on the Constitution, and I'm going to do it. It's interesting which day is appropriate for the Constitution. Anyway, I'm taking your time, Mark. I
Happy to
know that
talk
we
more.
could have this. Yes,
Okay.
thank you. I want to thank you, Mark, and enjoy the rest of your evening, and we'll speak to you soon.
Thank you all so much. Take
All
care. Live long and prosper.
Peace and long life. Yes. All right, folks. Wow. Quite a bit of fun. Thank you, as always. And it's really good. I'm sure he still has quite a bit more that he would like to share about it. So,
he does.
yeah.
He
so, I didn't want to make it obvious that we took up his time in talking about other stuff, but we will have him back on, which is really cool. So, Michael, any other announcements? The email is gone. It's sent. It's done. It's finito. It's
next week we have a guest.
Yes, we do.
Victoria Avalon, who also worked on Farragut. Working on Dreadnought Dominion.
Time out. We're going to start that one again. I sent the email to myself.
Oh, you're kidding.
I'm not. It just came back. Oh, no,
or
wait
did
a minute.
It bounce?
Oh, no, wait a minute.
What happened?
I don't know. You know what? Actually, no, I sent it.
Was it refused by
No, it wasn't refused.
John?
Actually, I think he read it and he just answered.
Oh.
He just clicked on it. Oh, actually, he read it right now. Oh, my goodness. Because it came back. That is so funny. All right. Okay, so, that's fine.
As I was saying, Victoria Avalon will be joining us next Monday night, 9 p.m. Eastern, 6 p.m. Pacific time. She has worked on Farragut. She has Dreadnought Dominion, and she has done several other shows. And she will be talking probably. She also done Demos with Potemkin Pictures, and I can't believe I forgot that one. Not Roger. Randy will get me for that one.
Yeah.
But she will be coming next week, and exactly.
Oh, like you understood that.
I did. Remember. Patty and I talk.
Yeah. So I've been told.
Yes.
All right. Whatever.
But
all right.
So please join us next week for Victoria, and she will have some good stories, I'm sure, to tell us.
Yeah, and folks, we are returning to a regular schedule. Of course, we were not on Saturday due to the events that happened some 20 years ago. We just normally don't do that, so we will be back to our normal schedule, and we're going to be getting some other stuff going on. I'm going to talk about my trip yesterday to Seattle. Actually, I think I'll talk about it a little bit right now. Michael, if you're too tired, you don't worry. You can
I've got a few more minutes.
Thomas is telling me he was disappointed that there was no link to join. That was my fault. I did not post it in the NDB Media Forum as I normally do. I screwed up. So, as I told our guests, I woke up like an hour before the program. You could tell I was still tired when the episode began. I am an old man, and it's getting tougher and tougher to fly. We woke up at 3 a.m. yesterday. Left the house 5 minutes late. We left at 3:25, and we couldn't find a place anywhere that was open on a Sunday. Couldn't believe it. So we finally found something at the last minute, our fourth different place. Had a quick meal, got into the airport, went through security, took us maybe 10 minutes. And then we ordered drinks, and then we got the call to board. And so we had to dump the drinks. We had something on the way up there. But we got up to Seattle, met Chris Smith in person. He drove us around for a little bit, dropped us off outside the stadium early. We had a chance to go around the entire stadium. Let me tell you, T-Mobile Stadium in Seattle is gorgeous. It really is gorgeous. And I really enjoyed it. And now there's 2 stadiums, Michael, that I've gone to that it's all you can drink. Dodger Stadium and Angel Stadium. What the hell is the matter with you people? What the hell is the matter? Petco Park, T-Mobile Park, Mariners or Padres and Mariners respectively. You buy a drink, it's all you can drink throughout the whole game. Not liquor, but fountain drinks. What the hell are you doing, Dodgers and Angels? Come on, man. I'm gonna make this my Ray Day trade. So I'm PO'd about that. You can buy one drink and drink throughout the entire game. That's well, whatever. I'm unhappy about that, but the stadium was really nice. It was 65 degrees in the middle of the day. It looked like it was going to rain, but by the 5th, 6th inning, there was sunlight, and it was a beautiful day up in Seattle. So it was really cool. I have now 1,900 and so many miles. Ugh. I'm tired, man.
That's not enough.
Oh, I'm flying more. I'm going to add like 4,000 when I go to Alaska in April. So I'm looking forward to that one. So, did I miss several innings in the bathroom? No, thank goodness. I didn't even get up the entire game except for the 7th inning stretch. Oh, and it was it was Hispanic Heritage Day at the stadium. So there was, the food was good, folks. The food was really good at those stadiums. And it was nice. It was nice being able to go. But anyway, I'm going to talk about that at Sports Talk with the guys on Saturday because we have a lot to talk about. So I'm looking forward to that. So we're going to have Miss Avalon join us next Monday. That'll be fun. And like I said, we're waiting for our next guest to confirm with us. So that will be fun. So I hope I don't think he thinks he responded because I'm going to tell him, hey, it was blank, dude. What's going on? So
maybe he was just so shocked at what you wrote, and he's laughing so hard he hit the button by mistake.
He might have. We're just as flexible as your flux capacitor. That was funny. That was good, Mark. That was good. So of course my cousin is. Oh, okay. I'm sorry. That was a hint and a half for Thomas to join. I'm so sorry. There it is. Thomas, join. I apologize. I missed it. Should we have him join, Michael?
Yes, he can join and take my place. So since I'm on the East Coast, I can get a little shut-eye.
Are you going to work tomorrow?
I've been asked to. Okay. I'm not sure if I'm going to or not yet, but I'm still recouping from my trip, remember. So.
And how did that go for you?
It went well. We can talk about that, on another show.
I look forward to it, yes. It has to do with Michael and I discovering our heritage, right?
Mm-hmm.
And your trip did go well, right?
It did go well, yes.
When you want to talk about that, I look forward to being able to because some things have happened in my life as well. So, but I do apologize. The calls that I was interrupted on, family. We'll just leave it at that. And there he is. Hola, Dream. How are you?
Órale, vatos.
How are you? How is you're home now?
How
is Louisiana, man?
There's some spots that don't have power still. We are fortunate enough to be A-okay at home. Very minimal damage. At the restaurant, we had just a little bit of like stuff with the roof, so there was some leakage and water coming in. I had to mop up quite a bit. We had some loss because we did have some power outage, so we had to get rid of a lot of product and stuff like that. But we were able to donate a lot too, so that was a good thing. Get some food in people's hands, that really needed it. Other than that, I mean, we lost power, so we lost AC, we lost Wi-Fi, everything, TV. So all the comforts were gone. So, we booked it and took off. We went to go stay with some family out in Georgia. Not just because of the comfort aspect of it, but my wife has to keep her medicines refrigerated.
Right.
So, there was some of that going on. So we had to make the best decision going forward to maintain a certain level of comfort for her and for my daughter. And then, we as soon as we got power back, we were back. Roger knows some of the other issues that we had to go through coming back, but it happens, and life moves on. We're back open at the restaurant. El Peregrino. I don't know what that one is.
Like Voyager, Peregrino it's. I'll explain to you because I can't translate it right now, but it's traveler. When Thomas shared that comment right now that he had shared with me what had happened, as a human being listening to Thomas' story, wow, dude, you're a better man than I am. Dude, you got slapped all the way coming back, hard, and you still sucked it up, didn't complain about it. You just shared it with me. There's no need to get into all the details. It was a frustration of having to get back home, but everything that came your way, dude, with this hurricane, oh my God, dude, you and your family, like many others, the stuff that you guys had to go through. I'm glad you guys had a place to go.
Yeah, and like I said, we're very fortunate compared to a lot of people, and
fair enough.
We had to look at it from that perspective. Nobody got hurt, nobody got injured. We didn't have any crazy damage, to the house or to the restaurant. Nothing that can't be fixed. And it's just, you move on. You live to fight another day. And what was that? Oh gosh, Chesty Puller. It's like, I've got enemies to the left of me, enemies to the right of me, enemies in front of me. They aren't getting away this time.
For those of you that know your history, United States Marine Corps, World War II, folks, look it up.
He's got so many great ones, man. So many great ones. I love, like, when they were showing him what a flamethrower was when they first came out with it. He loved it, and he was like, "All right, now where do I put the bayonet?"
For those of you that know what a flamethrower is, come on. But that's that's really good. I didn't know that one, Dream. I know a little bit about Jesse Fuller.
Oh, he's got a million and a half.
Yeah. He does. Yes, that he does. That I know of. But I didn't hear that one.
Two of my favorite people to quote are Chesty Puller, or let me rephrase that. Two of my favorite people to misquote are Chesty Puller and Yogi Berra.
That is cool. Yes.
Well, I'm going to say good night, everyone.
Thank you, Michael.
Michael, it was great to see your face and hear your voice. I miss being on with you. You're a hoot and a half, man.
Yeah, well, I try, but it doesn't always work.
Hey, Michael, by the way, how many miles did you travel over this last week? You and I were both traveling lords over the last.
Yeah, I did about 1,300 miles.
I flew 954 one way and obviously 954 on the way back.
Oh, that's more than me, but I drove. So.
I do have a little bit of bad news. My daughter did have trouble with the flight. So, she may not be. I don't think she wants to fly anymore. Oh well. Bad. She handled it like a warrior, though. But I was like, oh, there went my road warrior, both figuratively and literally.
Yeah.
She went on the cruise. Did not like the cruise. She sucked it up. She was sick. When we left Ensenada, when we got to the open ocean, she suffered for 2 days on the ocean. But anyway, Michael, thank you. We will speak soon enough. I should be going back to work. Oh, we do have another like. Thank you. And that is from Ross in the chat room. Oh, check it out. Chesty Puller did some incredible things on Guadalcanal and other Pacific islands. Yes. That's our history stuff now. Yes. Ross, so right. The one that I knew before Puller was Howlin' Matt Smith. That's another Marine general. But then I found later on who Puller was. I'm like, oh, this was a guy in charge.
Yes. Like Puller was one of those guys. Like he went to go do an inspection on some Marines, and the first thing he said was, "Take me to the brig where I can see the real Marines."
That's funny. That is good. I like that. I know that we should do something on history. I know that we are, like I mentioned to Mark, that we're going to be doing some stuff over the next 4 to 5 years, specifically in preparation to the America's 250th anniversary.
Ooh, fun.
Actually, I apologize, Patty, cousin, prima. For a moment, Chesty Puller was the head of the United States Marine Corps in World War II. So he just quoted him, and that's how we went off on that vein. So it's all good.
Yep.
So
NDB Media, home of the tangents.
If you look up tangent, it's going to have Roger and NDB Media. You should know this. My gravestone will. What is that? A train going by?
Yes.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay.
Takes you back to when I was walking on the show, huh?
A little bit. Oh my God, folks! Dream over the years, over the last. Oh my God, 13 years. Yes. Only a month from the anniversary of the Battle of Cape Esperance. Okay, are you talking about Leyte Gulf, 1944? If so, we're going to be doing something with the book by James D. Hornfisher, the one who passed away in June, The Last Stand of the Tin Can Sailors. Folks, if you want to read a story, which is phenomenal, and it's about the Battle of Leyte Gulf, and specifically Taffy's 1, 2, and 3 to the north of Leyte Gulf. Yeah, it's something. Is Cape Esperance, is that the one on the northern tip of Luzon? Because I wouldn't call that a battle. That was Halsey butchering what was left of the Imperial Navy's carrier force, but I may be wrong. Hey, Dream. Oh, hey, dude. Back in the restaurant. I bet you it feels good.
I wasn't kidding. I literally am waiting for water to boil.
Wow.
I have to make. I'm making tea for them, so they have tea for tomorrow, for our boba section, in the morning, and yeah. So I didn't get a heads up until like 5 minutes before we closed, and I wasn't about to hold up everybody else to make the tea. So I was like, all right, well, let's get through closing, and then I'll stay and make the tea, and you all can go home because we're working crazy hours right now with everything that's going on. We've been super busy, which is wonderful. It's just very tiring.
I'm glad, Dream. I'm glad you're back to doing it, and good. You guys are busy, I imagine.
Oh yeah, almost to the point of when we first opened. So it was pretty crazy. The first day back, we had almost as much as when we had our grand opening. So it was nuts.
A return to normalcy.
Yes.
People don't understand that.
No.
I learned that lesson in January of 1991. I called the day just because I knew when it was going to happen, and I put my alarm to wake up at a certain hour, and my brother called me. He says, dude, they've begun. I'm like, man, how long ago? He says, just a few minutes ago. It's like, so I mistimed it. And I'm talking about the first Persian Gulf War. I did the timing. I said, okay, about this time the airstrike's going to start, whatever. And yeah, I had a sneaky suspicion. But I was able to watch the news for about 2 hours. I had to do my shift at Carl's Jr. in Paramount. And I was agitated and angry because the restaurant was jammed. Like, what the hell are you people doing here? Don't you know there's a war going? Oh, okay. I get it.
Yeah.
They didn't want to be at home.
Yeah.
I get it. Normalcy. I get it. So I was like, all right, just shut up and just do the best you can. People did not want to be at home.
That's 100% right. And honestly, like in our town, like everybody got hit really hard. So not everybody is open. Like not all the restaurants are open, and the ones that are have very, very limited menus. Even like we tried to go to McDonald's the other day, and all they had was quarter pounders with cheese. That's it. Like that's all of their menu that they were able to sell. Highlight of the day.
Okay, but you realize she called you cousin.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. I just had to make that out there for the rest of the thing. Yeah. Look, you want your competitor dead in normal times.
Yeah.
Not right now. Not right now. Because you need your community to recover.
Exactly. And whatever we can do to help is, you know, we're trying to be there for the rest of the community, give them a place to come. You know, we're offering free drinks to the linemen who are out there trying to restore power and stuff like that. So that, you know, when they're on their break, they can just come in, get a soda, get a boba, whatever. They can come in. Don't worry about it. It's fine. You know, sometimes they'll buy some food while they're here, you know, whatever. But just so they have somewhere where they can come and they know that they're welcome to just grab a drink and don't worry about it, you know?
Didn't know there were 1,000 linemen in your area, did you?
No, we know. There's a couple days I looked outside in the parking lot. There's like 70 big trucks.
Oh, I was only kidding. Wow. Okay.
They're around. They're doing everything. They're busting their behinds to get us back going. So.
Oh yeah. Yeah. Look, I'm not anywhere near that dream, but being a civil servant myself, when there's a disaster, it's just shut up, put your note, just get to work.
Yep.
You just do. And I'm not a frontline person per se, but I've always supported the field units. I'm the one that has to procure the supplies, or at least I used to do that part of it. But whenever the hillsides came down, our crews were the ones that were out there. Whenever there was an earthquake, our crews were the ones out there. Yep. And I went out there. Dream remembers, right? In 2005, in January.
Oh, so long ago.
There was a big event that we were going to have, and I couldn't be there. And I was stuck up on Sierra Highway. For those of you can look this up, on Sierra Highway and Vasquez Canyon Road up there in Canyon Country. And I was there for the entire MLK weekend working 12-hour shifts. People would consider it easy work. Not when you're out there and all you have is a car, a flashlight, a paddle, and a vest. That's it. And you're helping the crews respond. You're helping the crews control traffic. It gets old after a while and you get tired. And it was raining. But Prima wants to know if you're in Louisiana. And yes, Hammond.
Yep.
Hammond, Louisiana.
Yep. So supposedly there's more storms coming. And it's
as a matter of fact, you have one right around the corner, dude. Nicholas.
Yes, that's what I saw updates, but it's been so busy I haven't been able to even look at it. But
that's to the west of you.
I saw the name Nicholas coming, and I was like, "Oh crap! I don't want another one. Just keep going. Go somewhere else." The problem with Ida, and historically the I ones are usually the worst, because they come right at like the peak of hurricane season. We build the data loggers and sensors used in a lot of the weather stations and alert stations being installed by utility.
Oh, wow.
Well, hey, give me a heads up.
Yeah. That's pretty good. That's cool. Ross did not know that. That is cool. So you are involved as well, Ross. Yes.
Yeah. Grand Isle got completely messed up, which is like at the point of Louisiana where Hurricane Ida hit. So the majority of it is just covered in just like sand. It's just beat up. It hit as a Category 4 And by the time it got to us, it was like 16 hours of a Category 3, and it was just nuts. It was not pleasant. My wife was up, praying, scared, and I did everything I could to stay asleep. It's hard when you just hear them praying over and over. I'm like, just let me sleep. It's fine. You're not going anywhere. Or if not, won't be in Louisiana anymore, at least.
Yeah. I'm going to switch over to this view. Ladies and gentlemen, this is weather.com, and this is the track as of 2 hours ago. Tropical storm Nicholas is lashing the Texas coast. Major rainfall flood threat into Louisiana, Mississippi. And this is Texas right here. This is Louisiana. This is where New Orleans is. That's Lake Pontchartrain. Dream, you're about here, right?
Yep. Right at the edge of that green.
Great.
Yay.
And that's what that. Yep, look at that.
It's going to push right into me.
Yep. Oh. Yeah, but right now it looks like, at the moment, it looks like it's going to be the Texas Gulf Coast, but you're obviously going to see some of it. Damn.
Yeah, we're going to see some heavy rainfall. We're probably going to see some flooding, just because we still have very high water levels because of Ida. So everything's still very damp. Everything's still very wet. So I mean, I don't know. We'll see what happens. But usually when we get the rain and stuff like that, Hammond is a little bit higher ground, so we don't have too much problems. But Ida messed us up, man. It really did. I mean, power lines down everywhere. I mean, windows bashed in, flooding, roads were flooded. I shared a video with you about me where I got trapped in a line of cars driving. And if you ever watch that with the audio, you just hear me going like, ooh, all throughout the trip, and with a lot of vulgarity.
I am not into traffic. I abhor traffic. That's why I go into work as early as I do. But coming home, I'm screwed. It's an hour and a half. Doesn't matter.
Well, I got stuck. It was
I don't know how you handle that.
Road. And there was no point to make a U-turn, because if I tried, I would have ended up in a ditch, because there was no way to gauge where that ditch starts and where the road is.
Okay, now let me end that right here, folks. I lost contact with Dream and his family. Okay, I did, and we were taught. Dream and I will speak in bursts. we just do. It's when we're available. And we knew what was coming, Ida. He told me what was going on, and we were in contact. Well, his wife, Danielle, posted a video, and I knew Dream was scouting a way to get out to go to Georgia. I knew that. And he was telling me the treacherous conditions. Were you on the phone when you were talking to me? No.
Yes. Yes.
Oh, okay, you were. So, okay, I knew that. Well, Danielle posted after that conversation that Dream had caught in one of those free-flowing things. What happened, dude? Well, the point is he got caught, and I contacted Dream as a Dream. Dude, Thomas, what's going on? Effing silence for days. Now, I knew indirectly he was okay because of the post by Danielle, but I couldn't get a hold of Dream. And Dream and I, whenever we have familial drama, real-life drama, we'll send a message to each other, dude, what's going on? And if we get okay, that's code for, you know what, thanks, buddy. Leave me alone. I'm taking care of stuff right now. I didn't get that okay from him.
Yeah, it was nuts. So it was actually where I got caught up was before I'd actually talked to you on the phone.
Okay.
So that when I had talked to you on the phone, I'd already gone through all that. That's the video I was trying to send you. So of beforehand. So
okay, yes.
When I talked to you on the phone was maybe the next day. When I got caught up in the flood, that was the day after Ida. and I was trying to make it to the restaurant
So
to see
you
what kind
did
of damage
pop.
was there.
Oh,
So I mean, I knew I probably shouldn't have gone out, but as a business owner, you kind of have to make sure everything's cool, because if I got a bashed in window, you know, that means my entire kitchen is up for grabs. You know, it, I couldn't take that risk. You know what I mean? Like I had to make sure that everything was straight before I can book it out of town. Um, so that's what that was. And then, you know, since we had lost power, I had to take care of all the food stuff to make sure everything was everything that could be saved was saved and stored in different freezers where we had power, and you know, stuff like that. And then stuff that we could donate, we donated. Um, and then just to be able to be in a position where we could leave and not be freaked out and worried. You know, that's why we didn't leave beforehand. We were just going to power through the storm itself and then go. You know, because we had to make sure that the business was okay first.
yes. Ross and I have been speaking quite a bit over the programs. He's been on as a guest and stuff. And we're not friends on Facebook. And he showed me an image on Facebook right now. So I just sent him an invite. I was going to ask Ross, may I show those images? I was going to ask right now if I can, because he put a link in the chat room to it, but I'm not able to see it right now. But maybe so. But I don't want to do it without him accepting the friend invite. Okay, thank you, Ross. And I'm going over to it right now. I've seen the images. Check this out, Dream. This is outside his. Wow. I know yours didn't look like that, but this is outside of Ross's house yesterday. Check this out on these images. Wow. Let me go to it right now. Dude, how long did that last? Jeez. Look at that, Dream. Can you see that?
That is beautiful.
Wow. And I think
terrifying, but beautiful.
See that purple hue? Ooh. I think it's only 3 images. I don't want to go any further, but wow. Well, it's because I might end up showing something else. That is amazing.
Ooh.
Wow. Yeah, dude. Didn't get any of that, thank goodness, when we were flying. So, real happy about that.
I got to see some crazy stuff like that outside, but I didn't get pictures or anything like that. I wasn't trying to be taking pictures during that. I was trying to not be awake.
Oh, I hear you. Wow.
And honestly, like, my wife was like, "How could you sleep through that?" And I'm like, "This is a day off."
Yeah.
I'm sleeping.
Hey, so I know you were stressed out, dude, but being over in Georgia for a few days, you actually got back a lot quicker than I thought you were.
Oh yeah. I went. Let me see. We left Tuesday. No, we left Wednesday, I think. Wait, storm was Sunday night. No, we left Tuesday. Yeah.
Yeah.
And then we stayed one night in Alabama. Got to Georgia on Wednesday. And stayed for a couple days. And came home Sunday. Stopped over in Alabama. And then didn't make it back for a couple more days after that. So it was just a lot of driving, and my back was hurting from the driving, and I had to take an extra night. And then we got some issues where we had to go back to Alabama when we were halfway home, and you know we ended up just staying another night because I wasn't about to drive for another 8-9 hours in the middle of the night when there was another storm coming. And it ended up timing out pretty well because when we got back, we had power. So it worked.
Yeah, when you mentioned to me that you had power, I was genuinely surprised. The timeline didn't fit what you had described to me, but I was really happy that you had power. But I thought you were going to be able to rest a little bit more than that.
No, it wasn't about, like I said, it was nice to get away. You know, we got to spend some time with family that we hadn't seen for a while. We got to kind of celebrate our anniversary. And you know, by the time we got back, it was just another one of those things where we had to take an extra day. And yeah, I don't blame him. I do not blame you, Ross, for bailing.
Right. Those are the images that we shared, folks. Most
Rod-
of it was sheet lighting in the clouds, and then suddenly started hitting the ground and moving fast. After that, it was right over my head and right until I bailed. Yep.
You were at a disadvantage, Roger, because one of the telltale signs of being struck by lightning is your hair will stand on end on your top of your head.
Only on top of my head?
Yes. Well, if your arms are higher than your...
Oh, like an idiot. I was like, I got more here, but oh my God, I almost did that. I almost pulled up the shirt. Sorry. Oh, I would have lost the audience forever. Sorry, folks. Oh, thank goodness.
It's not that kind of show.
No. Well, you challenged me with the hairline. Hairline. Or, none.
Yep.
Even Patty's like, ha ha ha, no, primo, don't do it. Don't be stupid. She says sucio. But I'm not. I kept it from happening. Oh, Ross, you are so mistaken.
Join us in Sports Talk with the guys. It gets worse.
Yeah, kind of. Yeah. Men don't lose their hair. It just slides down their bodies.
Well, I've got a
That's funny, dude. I didn't think about that. Yeah. Well, it stopped right here.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. As I said, folks, I am European. There is no doubt that I'm European. I'm not Indian. Because for those that know and don't, I'm generalizing, but I resent, even though I'm 37% Indian, my European part took over the front.
Oh, man.
I'm Northern European. Oh, yeah. So, well, let's just say I'm not cold in the winter.
Ooh, my water is almost boiling. Almost.
I think we can hear it.
I said my water is almost boiling.
Yeah, no, I said I think we can hear it boiling.
No, that's my hood vents. Anytime there's fire on, I have to have that hood vent on for safety reasons.
Oh, I think we just got another light. Actually, no. Folks, I don't know why it is, and now I'm realizing it. I happen to be looking at several pages, but I noticed that the big dog just gave me a like. Thank you, Peter. And but it's on my personal page, so it doesn't show up in my regular counts right here.
Yeah, you didn't post a few of the comments I made.
And when it's on the personal page, it doesn't show up. It's
that
just
sucks. I had a couple of good ones, man. It's horrible.
And I'm sorry, those don't show up. I think I'm gonna have to just take it out. But look, Patty knows. She knows where to post. You're just hairy. So hey, it is what it is. But it's all good. Wow. Well, before I get accused of not letting you speak, Dream, what else would you like to speak of? Because I got dirt for you, brother. Oh, folks, again, I apologize both to my guests. I'm about to apologize to them earlier. I was receiving lots of calls of a personal nature. It is what it is. And that's why I was distracted early on, and I'm still receiving them, so I'm going to have to get to them as soon as I can. But if you don't mind, spiritually and whatever you believe in, if you want to drop an extra thought or a prayer there, not for me, but for members of my family, I would appreciate that. You know, I rarely ever ask, and. Yeah. Oh, there it is. Let him speak, Roger.
I've been trying to. It's okay. I've been trying to speak up.
Hi, David. So, as a matter of fact, oh, damn, I just got distracted.
You said you got dirt for me.
Oh, kind of that. Kind of. But I thank you for the likes. We have Steve, Tony, Jacob, Alan, DA, Ross, and David. Thank you, folks, for the likes. We do appreciate it. Um, like I say, if we get the comments on, see, now I said it on air. Now the text messages are coming in. Like, what's going on? Like, oh. Like I said, folks, if you can, just I rarely ever ask, but prayers for my siblings, and that's what I would ask. So,
Oh no!
just things are going on, but it's
We'll send
family.
all the good juju from Louisiana your way.
I would expect it, and I hope for it. So these eyes, yes, they're travel eyes, but no, it's also stuff going on. Thank you, guys. So Patty said, "Let him talk, let him speak. Go ahead, speak, dream."
Woof, woof.
I did it. I did the sound.
I know you beat me to it because you didn't let me speak.
That was good.
Oh man, no, I'm just happy to be able to talk to you guys again. I wish I could have got on earlier and spoken to everybody else, but I was still closing and getting the restaurant tightened up before I could actually come on for a minute. And like I said, I'm just killing time right now because I'm waiting for water to boil. And I was like, oh, well, you know what? Shoot, just send me a link and let's do this for a minute because I miss you guys.
Yeah.
You are my extended family.
You see, there's where we draw the line. It's not well, EDT Media's extended family.
I'm talking about everybody else. We're brothers pretty much. So
yeah, folks. I've been going through a little bit of stuff. You guys know it. You can see I'm tired, both physically, health-wise, and stuff. And there was an incredible amount of personal drama in the last few weeks, and I know I pissed off people because they didn't like my interpretation of something. And the individual told me, but we're friends. I said, I don't have friends. I have acquaintances and I have family. Look at the definition of friend and look at what happens in the real world. You need to understand what the word friend is. I don't have friends. I don't. If I refer to you as brother or sister or cousin, that is the relationship that I have with you. If I don't refer to it as, well, take it as is. You're an acquaintance. But the secret to that is because it is work related. I've told this story. I was in the middle of an employee action, and they were trying to drag me in, and management or your friends. Like, what? What are you talking about? And it immediately the light went on. What they were trying to imply. I'm like, who are we talking about here? Well, this person, he's a co-worker. Oh, but your friends? He's a co-worker. And they kept saying, but your friends. I said, okay, I'm getting paid for this. Do you want to keep dancing? And I said, I don't have friends. They're my co-workers. But your friends. I said, I don't know. Do we go to baseball games? Do we see movies? Do we talk Star Trek? And they just looked at me and said, They're my co-workers. Okay, there's a bit of an exaggeration there, but it happened.
Yeah,
it's true.
It's true. There has to be a line somewhere, especially when, I'm.
God, I can't remember.
I'm not trying to give you the mushy side out there. Not trying to blow the mushy side up in your face.
Here we go. Come on, baby.
When you have a big heart and you take care of your peoples, you take care of your family. You take care of your family first at all times. You always take care of your family. And there's a line, and you have to be willing to draw it because at a certain time you're not going to be able to give to everybody, because then you won't have enough to take care of your family. And I'm not talking just money. I'm talking about like time, energy, your mental health, like your whole spiritual aspect of yourself. You can't give to yourself to everybody because somebody's going to suffer. Somebody's not going to get 100% of what you need to give them. So I mean, I'm not trying to be for lack of a better word, I'm not trying to be a dick, but there comes a time where you have to draw a line. And yes, I want to make sure all my employees are taken care of. Yes, I want to make sure all my coworkers are taken care of. My acquaintances are taken care of, but not at the expense of my family.
As it should be. Okay, we are receiving. Oh shit! This is bad news. Okay, we are receiving news that Nicholas is no longer a tropical storm. It is now a hurricane. So it has reached well, actually, no, I take that back. It has reached hurricane strength. So just before it makes landfall, it has reached hurricane strength. So I apologize. I misread, and I need to make that clear. I do not have confirmation that it is a hurricane, but I have confirmation that it has reached hurricane strength. There is a significant difference, right, Dream?
Oh yeah,
especially there. Yeah.
yeah.
So
So
I
you'll
hope you
probably
don't
get
have to
another
do it
update
again,
within
dude.
the next hour or so. Within the next hour or so, they'll probably classify it as a hurricane. They'll give it a category strength, stuff like that. That sucks.
You know, folks.
I know Louisiana can't take much more right now.
But that's why we have the rest of the United States. You know, folks, I've told this story a few times, and I know it's happening even now, but the stories haven't been told yet. They may never be told. But I will never, ever forget. We all remember what happened. Hurricane Hugo, one of the most devastating hurricanes in American history that hit South Carolina. It existed in name only after Hurricane Hugo. America responded as America does to every disaster, at home and around the world. Assistance arrived, but it took time to arrive. Months would go by, and we know what happened on September 18th, 1989. There was a seismic event known as the Loma Prieta earthquake. It struck during the World Series, or right before Game 7 at 5:05 p.m. It decimated the Bay Area. Hundreds of people died. The fires in the Marina District, because it was on that alluvial sand. I may have stuttered by saying that alluvial sand, so forgive me. I'm a little tired. But a few weeks after, I was watching Channel 7, and they were giving the news. And I know the person had read it, but just before they went to them, they're like, oh, you have to hear this. And he said it to his co-host on air. Pay attention. He had mentioned that aid workers in San Francisco had received a care package from people in South Carolina. And it said, you need help too.
Yep.
And his comment was, these people were decimated in South Carolina. But yet what little they had, they sent it to San Francisco. I've never forgotten that story, and any chance I get to tell that story, I do. How the hell do I remember all of that, date and time and events? I'm an armchair historian, Patty.
You should know this by now.
Yes, I know time frames. Look, I'm going to share a personal conversation. Roz and I were having a conversation before September 11th, and I mentioned to her that for 15 years, I marked the 6 primary events on September 11th on Facebook. All I do is I put the time, and they're seared into my memory. 5:46 a.m. This is, oh wait, no, that's Pacific time. 8:46 a.m., 9:03, 9:37, 9:59, 10:03, 10:28. Those are the 6 major events on 9/11. And the first one is Flight 11 into the North Tower. The second one is Flight 175 into the South Tower. The third one is Flight 77 into the Pentagon. The fourth one is the South Tower collapsing. The fifth one is United 93. and the sixth and final one is the North Tower. From 8:46 a.m. until 10:28, folks. Think about that. So I told Roz I wasn't going to put the times on Facebook, and yet I woke up again, and I was at my desk here, watching the events, and I was posting again the memories that I have of that day.
Yeah, I remember I was reporting for work, and I saw the second event, the second plane hitting, and it was insane. Like, it was just going on in the break room at a high school where I was working, and I walked into the break room, and normally there's a bunch of like chatter or whatever, you know. It was silent. You know, people were standing there with their coffee cups half raised to their lips, just frozen. And you know, at the time, like, I had no idea what was going on. Like, I walked in and the news was on, and I was like, "Is this like a movie? What is this really happening?" You know, and I was young, but, you know, to me, it just seemed like it was a movie that was playing, and everybody was just watching it silently. And then the news, like, they started like talking over what the footage was and replaying some of the other footage. And then, you know, so everybody just, you know, was quiet again, and like, nobody even tried to explain what was going on. Like, nobody was trying to fill me in on what was happening. It was just on the news, and everybody was silent. And then they canceled school for the day. And then the teachers, you know, they made announcements like for the psychology teachers and stuff like that. Like, if anybody needed to talk, or the counselors needed to talk to any of the students or the employees or whatever, you know, they'd be available for, I think they canceled a couple days, but, you know, that if you wanted to come in and talk, they would be there. So just call and make an appointment, or not an appointment, but just like, just come in, you know, we'll sit down and we'll talk with you and see how you're feeling and stuff. But I was just so blown away by what was going on at the time, and watching it on the news, and it changed everything. You know,
Did you go to LRL that day? Because we had a softball game scheduled, and we still went ahead.
I don't think so.
I called Father Dober during the day. I don't remember exactly, and I said, "Father," he took my call.
No, I did, because we still played.
We still played, and I called him up, and I said, "Father, should we cancel the game today?" He says, "What? Why? What are you talking about?" I said, "Well, with the events that are going on today." And he said, "Well, look, I've gone by the classes today, and I've seen that something has happened, but oh no, dear Father, allow me to explain to you what's going on." And I remember Father Edward Dober stayed in silence for contemplating. He said, "No, Roger, we will still have the softball game for the kids, part of the youth program." He said, "If we change our lifestyle, they have won." I make that face now, but I understood it then, and I said, "Okay, we're going to continue." And we still played that game that day, because I was involved in a youth group back then, and Father said, "Continue as you were," and we continued all of our events as we were. And I remember that day. Didn't get home until late. But yeah, I thought you were at that game.
Yeah, I was.
I know we had it. I know we played it, but I don't remember it.
Oh no, I don't remember the actual game because of I mean, there was so much more going on.
Yes,
you know?
I know we played it, but don't know what happened.
I'm pretty sure I won. You know, but
Ross says that it's his wedding anniversary. Well, on that day, all morning, I was like, "What's the significance of today? What is the significance? Why, of all days, did they do it?" because I woke up, I was going to work that morning, and I witnessed the second Flight 175. And I was watching it, and when I heard people say, "Oh my God, there's another one," and I see the explosion on the far side, the angle that I had, I saw the plane cross in the shadow. So it was black. And then, when they said, "Oh my God, there's another one," I turned to my mother and I said, "Did you just see something fly by right now?" In my mind, we were watching those replays that they do on the news, those graphics to explain. And she goes, "Yes, I did see a plane go by." At which point I immediately said, "Okay, we're under attack." And in my hubris, I said, I have to get to work. I have to get to work. Yeah, I remember that vividly. I saw the second one hit. Yeah. But maybe we'll do a program on this if you guys want to talk about it sometime this week or later on. But I think we're going to leave it there today. Are you done? Oh, Dream has gone to mute, so I think he's almost done there.
Hello?
Yes, Dream.
Yeah. No, I agree. This needs to be its own thing we can talk about, because there's a lot, and I'm sure we have more guests that want to comment and stuff like that, and it's already getting pretty late.
Yeah, and I'll give you the dirt on my date.
Yes. You can call me in a minute. I just got to do something real quick. I got to take care of my tea, and then
all right.
I will get the tea going. Then you can give me the tea.
All right, fair enough. Just let me know when you're there. All right, folks, we want to thank everyone. We definitely got off track, which is what we do here. This is NDB Media, Monday Night in America. You shouldn't be shocked, but this is what we do. And we want to thank you, as always, for spending time with us. Everyone, if I haven't mentioned your name, hopefully I did with all the likes and your comments. Thank you for spending it. Hopefully we were able to get away from the average routine. That's what we try to do. And we're going to try to continue to do that. So we have some news on guests coming up very soon. And we'll see what happens moving forward. But tentatively, our next program will be Saturday, Sports Talk with the Guys. I've got some things going on this weekend, so I don't know. I'm probably going to be out and about, but we'll see. But yes, I hinted something happened Saturday morning. Well, no, actually, it was Saturday afternoon. So that was it. The old man went out. Had a very busy weekend now that I think about it. Yeah. Anyway, I'm tired. Thanks, folks. We'll see you guys on the other side. And, thank you, Patty. Yes, stay safe. A good read for Chesty Puller. I'll have to look that one up. I thank you, Ross. Oh, by the way, Ross, on September 11th, 1992, I asked for my wife's hand in marriage. It was a day that we always celebrated. And after those events of that day, I don't know why we just didn't. I asked for her hand on that day, and on October 31st, I officially asked for her hand from her family, from her aunt that was here in the United States, because her mom was in Mexico. So I asked her hand from her aunt. But I asked the aunt if I could marry my wife at the time. So I finished the thought. We're out of here. Peace! Take care. We'll see you guys on the other side.